on that bandwagon. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, Thursday, 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm Austin Lane. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Justin Koo is in the back, pushing all the right buttons. My co-host Brent, who has been at home the past couple days, will be joining us momentarily. I was taking a nap. He texted the group, said he's going to be late. Didn't ask why. No communication. Doesn't really matter. He'll be here when he's here. Simple as that. And listen, being the constant professional that Brent Martineau is, obviously he still emailed us the rundown. But you know what? I was in nap mode. Didn't even take a look at it because to me, there's one breaking story right now. There's one thing that's sweeping the nation, if you will, and it has to do with our own Jacksonville Jaguars, and it has to do with Pro Bowl voting. Because I think you would agree with me right now when I say this year has been the year of indifferences. Right? Well, whether it's politics, whether it's you wear the mask, you don't wear the mask, whether it's Florida or Georgia, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, no one can really get on the same common ground and agree with each other. Would you agree with this?
Yeah, definitely seems that way.
And then when we talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, is Gardner Minshew the man going forward or not? Well, we kind of found that out already. But when the season started, there was a group of people that thought, well, he's probably not going to be the man. And there was a group that thought, well, yes, he's going to be the man for many years going forward. So even Jaguars fans right now seem to be at a civil war a little bit. And the latest example of that is if the Jaguars should be tanking or not. Now, you know where I stand on that. I can't co-sign on it. I don't have a loser's mentality. But I understand if you want to see this team lose. I understand that you want to plan for the future, get a legitimate quarterback, and build around that. I'm not against that. I'm just saying I want to see this team win some games, and who knows? Maybe they can start this Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But there is something right now that we can all rally behind. There is something right now that if you're a Jaguars fan, you should be doing your due diligence, your hard work, and making this thing happen. I didn't even know about this until my friend texted me this morning. And shout out to Bleacher Report Sports for their app for dropping this news bulletin. And I quote, and this is what the exact bulletin said, Jags fans trying to screw Vikings. All right, if you guys remember correctly, when Yannick Ngakoue got traded, part of the stipulation is that if Yannick Ngakoue went to the Pro Bowl for the Minnesota Vikings, the Jaguars would get a better draft pick. I think it would be a fourth round pick instead of a fifth round pick. Well, he got traded to Baltimore, obviously, but by my understanding, the stipulation still states that if Ngakoue goes to the Pro Bowl, he is able, we are able to get that fourth round pick still from the Minnesota Vikings. So listen, I have no ties to Minnesota. I'm not a big Mike Zimmer guy. If we're being honest right now, I think he got a little cocky when they were losing everything like that. And listen, the Vikings were trying to tank anyways. They traded Yannick Ngakoue. They put Hunter on the IR. They weren't planning on winning any games. Now all of a sudden they start winning some games. And obviously with that other draft pick that the Jaguars get now with Yannick Ngakoue, well, that pick's going to fall by the wayside a little bit because keep in mind, the Vikings are getting a better record. Not good for the Jaguars fan base. So Coos, we'll see what Brent thinks about this, but I'm asking all Jaguars fans to rally behind the cause and let's vote Yannick Ngakoue into the Pro Bowl. Okay, Coos, maybe we can put the link on our website so it's super accessible. All you gotta do is click on one thing and it counts as a vote for Yannick Ngakoue. And now before any of you goodies out there want to say, but Austin, I mean, isn't that kind of petty? Isn't that kind of messed up? I'm here to tell you guys firsthand, the Pro Bowl vote is the biggest bunch of malarkey you have ever seen. I've been in those Pro Bowl voting rooms with players my rookie, second, and third year in Jacksonville. And believe me when I say, it is the biggest crap show you could ever imagine. Now, what do I mean by that? We never voted for anybody, regardless if it was Chris Johnson leading the league in rushing, regardless if it was Andre Johnson being one of the best wide receivers at the time. We never voted for anybody in our division. You think, oh, the AFC South division, they got pride, they support each other. Absolutely not. We didn't like the Titans. We didn't like the Colts. We didn't like the Texans. So we never voted for him. Peyton Manning, sorry, man. I'd rather have, I don't know, Carson Palmer over you. Like, we never voted for any of the AFC South guys. And obviously the way it was set up, at least back when I was playing, is that you can never vote for your own guys, right? Because that makes it kind of cheating. So what we would do is we would take the most, I guess, out there names you could think of, just the most generic names, the most average position kind of guys, and we would vote for them. Because the thinking was, if we voted for the top guy, well, then the top guy gets more votes. So we would vote for the guy who had no business going to the Pro Bowl in hopes that maybe one of our guys could kind of squeak in a little bit. It's a dirty, dirty game. That's politics, man. Welcome to the show. But I'm just saying, I'm trying to do my part here for 2020. I'll be honest with you. Obviously, I am the syndicate leader, as people kind of have anointed me now. Kuz, you can be like the vice president of the syndicate if you're into it.
Okay.
And you know what? Like, I've done some cool things in Jacksonville, right? Like, I've done some charity work and things like that. My biggest charity thing I wanted to do was called Shots for Tots, where around Thanksgiving break, if you go to a Jack's Beach bar and you bought a shot, half of those proceeds would go to, getting kids toys. Unfortunately, when I ran this by the Jaguars front office, they said absolutely not, because you can't combine alcohol with buying, kids toys. Whatever. The kids missed out. It wasn't my bad. The kids missed out on that one. So this is my opportunity to give back. So, Kuz, what are the odds that we can get the Yannick Ngakoue Pro Bowl vote website on our website?
I will have to run it by our boss.
No, it's fine. I'm here right now. He's not here. All right? It's all good, man. Because let's be honest, Kuz. What have we had to cheer for this year? Right? I mean, we cheered when the Jaguars beat the Colts. And we had 1 week where we're intrigued. We had 1 week where it's like, guys, maybe this is something special here. Maybe Gardner Minshew's the answer. And then they travel to Nashville, play the Titans, another competitive game. And it was 2 weeks in a row where the sunshine and rainbows was kind of shining through a little bit. And now here we are. In the dumps, in the gloominess, if you will. And to me, this is like our last Hail Mary. This is something that our fan base can rally behind and say, let's get Yannick Ngakoue to the Pro Bowl. Because you know what? It took me a long time to learn how to pronounce his name right. I'm probably still not even doing it right. It took me a long time, and then he's out of here. Let's get Yannick Ngakoue to the Pro Bowl. Enough said.
How do you think he feel? How would he feel about getting voted to the Pro Bowl, knowing it was out of potential pettiness?
Well, no, Kuz, easy now. All right? I mean, you're throwing that P word around like it's just like you should be doing that. No, man. All right, let's go ahead and let's see the total sacks right now.
15 tackles and 5 sacks between.
Kuz, let's be honest.
Vikings,
nobody cares about tackles in terms of edge rushing.
Okay, but
all right, Yannick Ngakoue right here. Listen, I don't like your negativity right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm trying to help this team out.
I know. I'm curious from a player's perspective.
Yeah.
If you got voted to the Pro Bowl knowing, let's say, 75% of the vote came because a team wanted to get better picks from you.
But Kuz, this isn't an all-pro vote, right? Like this is literally a popularity contest. Like, did you have homecoming court? Did you have prom court back in high school?
Do I seem like someone that would get voted for on that?
Well, I mean, did you have it, though? You didn't get voted on? Oh, you didn't get voted on?
I did. I was that average Joe that you put so that the top person wouldn't get votes.
I mean, I was on it, but I think that was more of like the Rooney Rule, just because I was one of the only, black kids in the school. So, hey, this is going to look good. So it's all good. So I was on both of them. But listen, man, I didn't care. I was happy to be a part of it, but I didn't care if I won or not. Now, the girls cared, obviously. Hey, you want to talk about cutthroat? Girls care about the homecoming court and the prom court. But, Kuz, my point is, this isn't a big deal. We hear Pro Bowl snubs all the time, and we always ask, well, how did this guy get in? How did this guy get in? Let's go ahead and compare Yannick Ngakoue's stats real quick, and let's see where he falls in line in terms of the rest of the AFC. All right, so we got Myles Garrett leading the way with 9.5 sacks. Keep in mind, I'm not mentioning tackles at all because nobody cares about tackles, all right? It's all about the quarterback sacks. Welcome to the show, Kuz. TJ Watt, TJ Watt's up there. Agba's up there. Okay. There's Bud Dupree's. How many Steelers are in the top 10 in total sacks? They got Steven Tuitt, Bud Dupree, and TJ Watt. 3 guys in the top 10. That's ridiculous. Okay, Max Crosby. Okay, so here's where we're standing right now. We got about 9 guys in the AFC that are ahead of Yannick Ngakoue right now. Now, who's to say Ngakoue doesn't kind of rally a little bit, get a couple more sacks, and elevate himself into the top 5? It could happen. But I'm just saying, in a vote that doesn't really matter, you might as well rally behind if you're a Jaguars fan, and you might as well believe in something, and you might as well have fun with something, and that something is getting Yannick Ngakoue to the Pro Bowl. So, Kuz, text our boss, text Brent if you have to. Let's go ahead and post that link. I don't care what all the NFL people say about it, because I guarantee that they're going to share your same sentiments. Oh, Jacksonville's being kind of petty. Who cares about the Vikings?
Well, yeah, but...
Do you care about the Vikings?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Like, if this is the Packers, obviously, I got a little bit of allegiance there. It's my hometown, yada, yada. Nobody cares about the Vikings. Nobody's well, John Bachman does. But listen, is John Bachman going to lose sleep if it's going to be a 5th-round pick or a 4th-round pick? Probably not, right? But the Jaguars, we like that, man. Like, that. Let us win something this year. That's all I'm trying to get at right now. Like, I don't understand. Like, listen, if you're a Jaguars fan and you haven't, I've voted for Ngakoue twice already, okay? And I've already wore out my vote. I'm going to vote tomorrow again. Like, if you're not voting for Ngakoue, then what are you doing as a fan, right? Rally behind something. Get excited about something. We need this. We got nothing else. Pittsburgh's coming to town, and in case you didn't notice, they're a pretty good team, all right?
3 of their
they're undefeated.
Guys on the line are in the top for sacks.
3 of their defensive linemen / edge rushers. I don't know, because it's a 3-4 defense.
Oh, yeah.
That's complicated. Don't worry about it. But 3 of their guys are in the top 10 in sacks. All right, they're playing for keeps. All right, they're definitely playing for keeps right now. Oh, and by the way, I'm not sure if Tyson Alualu was playing. I know he was out the last game, I believe. He might be coming back. You don't think it's going to be a revenge game for Tyson Alualu? You don't think Jaguars fans would kind of hard him a little bit? He doesn't remember that? Oh, trust me, man. Tyson Alualu, like, listen, if we're doing prize picks, now keep in mind, prize picks won't put Tyson Alualu on there because he's a nose tackle, and let's be honest, nose tackles get 0 love on prize picks, as they should. But I'm just saying, if he was on prize picks, bet the over. Bet that over all day because Tyson Alualu is coming if he is indeed playing. And that's another bummer about this whole pandemic. But I can't go out to you with Tyson Alualu, man. I like to give him a call and say, hey, dude, let's go to Ruth Chris. On you, obviously, because you're still making contracts. I'm getting paid from this thing, but hey, let's be honest, all right? There's a pay discrepancy. Ruth Chris on you. Let's catch up a little bit, but obviously we can't do any of that. But it is Pittsburgh Steelers, Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday, and we've been kind of breaking it down a little bit. We're going to break it down a little more this week. But, I think the overall consensus is the fact that the Jaguars have had the Steelers number now the past couple years. And I'll co-sign on that. I absolutely agree on that. But how much stake you can put in that this season, that is up for debate. Now, for whatever reason, the past couple years when Big Ben comes to Jacksonville, he has bad games. I mean, I'm not going to take that away. He definitely has bad games. But Jalen Ramsey's gone now, right? AJ Boye, he's gone now, right? We have one of the youngest secondaries in the NFL. We have a defensive line that's been playing better, but in terms of quarterback sack production, it could definitely be better. And we have a linebacking core led by Myles Jack that's done okay, but you got to wonder the question, when you have guys like Claypool and Johnson and Ebron and Snell and James Conner, like, do the Jaguars have the guys in place on defense to match up with all those guys? Well, right now we've seen every team that's played the Steelers has answered no. We'll see what the Jaguars can do. But I think and we talked about this yesterday a little bit as well, from a perspective of trying to model your team after, and when we discussed it, with the Steelers, obviously, because they've done things right in the draft, they've let go of their guys that were problems to the team. But when they did that, they had plans in place to replace them, right? Like Antonio Brown, at the time, one of the best wide receivers in the league. Antonio Brown, we'll see you later. Good luck with that. Throws his players underneath the bus, throws the GM underneath the bus. But what happened? Guy by the name of Juju Smith-Schuster emerged, and nobody even remembered Antonio Brown. And now they got Claypool and Johnson. They got like 10 receivers that are like Pro Bowl eligible. So they're not missing Antonio Brown right now. What happened with Le'Veon Bell? Le'Veon Bell wasn't really personal. It was more business, right? As he wanted a new contract. Well, they said, hey, either you play for what we're paying you or you sit out, and it is what it is. Well, he goes to New York. One could say that maybe he lost some money, but he got what he wanted. But then enters James Conner. And that first year that James Conner replaced Le'Veon Bell, Conner is playing at a very high level. Now, despite what you think about him right now, I'm just saying people weren't talking about Le'Veon Bell anymore when James Conner first burst on the scene. And this is kind of the point I'm trying to make, is every team's going to lose some of their star guys, right? Whether it's Houston losing Hopkins, whether it's Jacksonville losing Jalen Ramsey, Yannick Ngakoue, every team's probably going to lose a couple stars. Now, obviously, the great ones with the great culture, they can cultivate those stars and keep them. But my point is when you lose those stars, do you have the backup plan? Is there a plan in place to be successful? In Pittsburgh, you better believe it. In Houston, absolutely not, okay? In Jacksonville, we'll see, right? We've seen C.J. Henderson so far, started out strong, and has been kind of just going down ever since. So, to me, Pittsburgh is the ultimate franchise that you want to model yourselves around. And it's not only the franchise, man. It's like the entire environment. I know like the Bold City Brigade, I think a couple years ago, they actually traveled to Pittsburgh. It might have been actually for the playoff game, if I'm not mistaken. But, and I've said this before on the show, in terms of NFL venues of where to play, like obviously Lambeau Field was fun. I enjoyed playing in Kansas City. But Pittsburgh always stood out to me. And it's weird because the field is absolutely trash. Like, you're better off, like, taking a couple goalposts and putting them on Jack's Beach. Like, that's like the surface that you're playing on. It's slippery. The college played on it, like, the night before. It's a mess. The field's atrocious. And to be fair, they don't have the biggest scoreboards. They don't have pools. They don't have palm trees. It's a very bleak-looking stadium. I mean, it's kind of cool because it's yellow and all that stuff, and it kind of fits the brand. But it's nothing like out of the ordinary. But for whatever reason, just the game day experience in Pittsburgh and their fan base and just the overall feel of it, you probably can't find a better experience in the entire NFL. And that's an unbiased opinion on my part. Oh, yeah. And then, by the way, fourth quarter, when they play the Styx song. Kuz, you know the band Styx? Mr. Roboto? Yeah. So you know what they do at the fourth quarter in Pittsburgh? So this is another thing that, Jacksonville's got to find something to kind of cling on here to. So my first time playing in Pittsburgh, I think it was my second year with Jacksonville. And I forgot who it even was. It might have been like Montel Owens. He's like, oh, get ready, man. Here comes the Renegade. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, Renegade. You know the Styx song? I'm like, yeah, I know of it. And at the time, I'm like, that's not, why are we bragging about Renegade? That song kind of, whatever. It's weird. It's Styx. No one's bringing Styx to the party and it's like, oh, this guy's awesome. It's like, why are you playing Styx for, man? Like, put Metallica in or something. You're going to play Styx? But anyways, so like when the fourth quarter starts, they play Renegade. And if you know how the song Renegade goes, like it starts really slow and it builds up and everything. Well, believe me when I say, and keep in mind, I had zero expectations for this song playing because, once again, it Styx. And when this song played and I'm on the bench, I wasn't even wearing the black and yellow, and I got goosebumps. Like, they absolutely blast it. The crowd singing along. The players on the sideline for the Steelers are jumping up and down. It's almost like, playing in Wisconsin for, like, the jump around. Kind of that same thing. And, like, that's kind of like their tradition thing. Now, I haven't been to any Jaguars games this year because, let's be honest, in terms of essential employees, I just don't fit the mold in terms of the press box, and that's okay. Kuz, you don't either. We just been chilling, man. But with that being said, I haven't really seen any kind of the game day experience this year. Like, I understand when the Jaguars score a touchdown, I'm sure they still do this. They play like that Pennywise song. That was always cool. But if you do bring a new regime in here, right, and assuming you bring a new quarterback in here, you got to start building on these traditions. Like, you got to start having your thing. Like, I understand. The pools, that's your thing. The world's largest outdoor scoreboards or whatever that is, like, I get it. That's your thing. Pet Paradise or whatever that dog place is, that's your thing. And that's cool. But, like, what's the game day experience, though? Like, what's something where you can go, like, say you're out of town, right? And say, like, you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and you're coming to watch this game. What's something where they can go, dang, Jacksonville's doing that right? Because I guarantee if you're a Jaguars fan and you went to that AFC playoff game, I'm sure when you heard that Styx song, and maybe you were kind of taken back, too, like, why is Styx playing right now? And then all of a sudden, 30 seconds into it, when it starts echoing up a little bit, jig is up and music's on, all of a sudden it's like, I get it. This makes sense. That's tradition. And that's what this team needs, right? I think in terms of branding and things like that, like you've gone through multicolored helmets, right? You've gone through aggressive jerseys. You've gone through the mustard jerseys. You've gone through these jerseys now. Like you got to find that one thing. And in order to find that one thing, let's be honest, there's only one recipe to do that. And that's winning football games. When you start winning, That's when the tradition starts. When you start winning, now all of a sudden your jerseys are like one of the top things to buy in the NFL and in the jersey shop, right? Because it's cool. All of a sudden, like, you know, when that Pennywise song plays, well, now it's like a really well-known thing. Like, that's the power of winning. Like, winning makes everything cool. And I think Brent said this before a little bit, and I'm not sure if I agree with it wholeheartedly, but if you take those mustard-colored jerseys, and let's be honest, not the biggest fan of those, but if they were winning in them, if you're going to AFC Championship games every single year in them, I wonder how the outside world would have perceived those. Because obviously they got ripped apart on Twitter and social media and all that stuff. But what happens when you start winning? Then all of a sudden it's cool. So that's the biggest thing I guess I'm trying to say here is in terms of roster moves, in terms of culture building, in terms of coaching, in terms of quarterback play, in terms of game day experience, in terms of all these things, Pittsburgh is definitely the team that you want to watch because anybody can do it, okay? It's not like they got a Tom Brady or a Patrick Mahomes and they looked into it. Now, Ben Roethlisberger, yeah, he's a great quarterback. And at the time, you know, he was probably top 5, maybe top 4. But I don't think he's ever won an MVP award, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's ever really considered the top quarterback at the time in the NFL, okay? So, to me, if you're trying to model the team, the culture, the franchise, you model after the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you're going to see that in full effect, at least from the on-the-field stuff, not the off-the-field stuff. But you're going to see it on the field this Sunday. So if you're watching, take some notes.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A jacket today. It'll be breezy and cool, but at least a lot of sunshine. Highs only topping out in the mid-60s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. It's Beard's Diamonds' 40th anniversary sale. Save up to 40% off store-wide till November 30th.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
As the seasons change, there's one thing that never changes: the importance of clean drinking water. A Connecticut system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. Now that's clean, and that's also why our family has a Connecticut system from CGC Water. Yours can too. Right now, CGC Water is offering a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. Connecticut Premier Softeners are non-electric and have twin tanks, making them super efficient, saving you money. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Schedule your free water test today and get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Remember, this is a limited time offer, a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. Financing available with approved credit. Just call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
The First Coast is booming. With interest rates at historic lows, there has never been a better time to call Brandon Ponsel and his network of local experts at Jack's Coastal Homes. You can visit them at jackscoastalhomes.com or call them today at 904-206-9480 and mention ESPN 690 to receive up to $2,500 towards your closing cost. Need to sell? Powered by the unparalleled technology of EXP, Brandon will guarantee the sale of your home in under 60 days, or he'll sell it for free. The First Coast market is on the move. Are you?
For more than 25 years, the potential for health improvement is seen with each patient that walks through our doors. Healthcare decisions don't have to be confusing. Make Island Doctors your medical practice.
My husband and I have been coming to Island Doctors for approximately 10 years, and we have been very happy with them, and we trust them.
Call us today and schedule a tour of one of our locations near you and take a look at our Best Wellness program, and welcome home.
Call 1-877-434-4676 or visit islanddoctors.com.
Nathan from Gordon Chevy in Orange Park here with some great news for all the veterans. The Chevy Military Discount, that's a fixed discounted price on all new Chevys, is now available for every active retired and now eligible military veteran. It's the same price the Chevy suppliers get, no negotiation needed, just a great deal up front. It can't be any easier. Come pick out a new Chevy today and get a deal. Gordon Chevy on the money saving end of Blanding in Orange Park or GordonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
It's Daily Fantasy Simplified. It's as simple as over and under. PrizePicks.com or the PrizePicks app is the place that pits you against the numbers. Don't worry about your fantasy lineup or a big injury that might hurt your team. On PrizePicks, you simply select 2, 3, or 4 players and predict if they will go over or under their fantasy projections. It's easy, it's fun, it's one-on-one. You against the numbers. PrizePicks.com or the PrizePicks app. Use the promo code JAX, J-A-X, to get a 100% match on your first deposit. Get started at PrizePicks.com.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, we've been celebrating 10 years in business. Over the years, we've constructed thousands of projects in the Northeast Florida region. For commercial to residential, we handle each project with the respect and care it deserves. We look forward to speaking with you about your next construction project. Find out more at lloydsconstruction.net. Are you ready for it? Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Toyotathon is on. Yes, there's only one sale big enough to be called Toyotathon, and it's going on right now at Arlington Toyota. You can score amazing Toyotathon lease deals that'll put that new Toyota in your driveway today. So if you've been eyeing a sporty new 2021 Corolla LE, don't just eye it, drive it, and get a low Toyotathon lease for just $119 a month at Arlington. Or maybe it's a 2021 RAV4. Maybe that's your style. You're going to save on that too, because right now at Arlington, you can lease a new 2021 RAV4 for just $204 a month. Get to Arlington for Toyotathon savings today, where you can lease a new 2020 Camry for as low as $162 a month. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind, thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Toyotathon is on, so don't wait. Shop safely in person at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Toyotathon for full offer details.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home or just steering clear of coworkers, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jax on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
I finished second, right? I lost in the championship to you.
Austin Lane.
Hey, you know what? You didn't win, okay? That's all that matters.
I didn't win.
Don't worry about what you did last year. You didn't win.
I didn't win, and I auto-drafted.
That's right.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
The only thing that's perfect about our team is our record. We acknowledge that there will always be things that we need to work on. The last several weeks, for example, our pass defense or third down conversion defense was lacking. I think we spent some time talking about it, third and long and so forth. And, you know, we've recentered ourselves in that area and gotten better. I can't say enough about the efforts of the guys on third down defensively, for example, last Sunday. So I look forward to getting into the lab with the coaches and the guys and attacking this run game situation. It's something that we shouldn't have a difficult time pushing through, to be quite honest with you. We have very capable people in that area, but it is below the line as we sit here today.
Steelers quarterback. Hello. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. Was he wearing earplugs and that's why he was talking so loud he couldn't even hear his own voice? Why is he talking so loud?
It's the Zoom stuff. You never know.
I mean, that was an intense interview for supposed to be a casual topic.
In general, watching him on the Zoom interviews, I said it to you yesterday. I was like, he's intimidating.
Stare at the camera the whole time too? Yeah, man. Oh.
Intense.
Very intense. But listen, I mean, and we've kind of echoed this the entire week. Tomlin said a lot of great stuff, you know, and I truly believe that he's not taking the Jaguars lightly. And the sign of any good team is when you don't play down to the level of your competition, right? In the past couple of years, well, the Steelers have done that, even to the point where they've been beat by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And don't think that Mike Tomlin hasn't forgotten those games either. You know, whether he's showing the highlights of those games for the extra motivation, I guarantee that Tomlin has brought that up to the forefront a little bit. And I expect to see the best version of the Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday. Austin Lane, Action Sports Jackson, ESPN 690. My co-host Brett Martineau, who came to you yesterday by the fire pit. We'll see where he comes to us by today. He's supposed to be on here in the next probably 30 minutes or so, like that. So I'm just taking over until he comes back. But, you know, not to really tease or I guess kind of bury the lead here, but we talked about Yannick Ngakoue, voting him for the Pro Bowl. But since we were on the Pro Bowl debate, we got to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars as well and what Jaguars should make the Pro Bowl. Now, let's get this thing straight right off the get-go. Anytime you win one game so far, you're not going to have a lot of Pro Bowlers, okay? I don't care what the stats say. I don't care what Pro Football Focus says. When you have one win, it's hard to get a lot of guys. But in my mind, and I think Brett and I, and Kuz, I think we're on the same page as well, I think we all agree that two guys definitely deserve to make the Pro Bowl more than anybody. And the first guy, James Robinson. I think when you talk about James Robinson, I want to say right now, is he sixth or is he fifth in the NFL in rushing? I know he's up there. And this is a guy who really came out of nowhere, right? And that can be detrimental sometimes because, once again, you're playing on a team right now that has one win. You're coming from a university that no one really knows where it's at, right? You're undrafted. And by the way, he's fifth right now in the NFL. Delvin Cook's first, followed by Derrick Henry, Ronald Jones, which is crazy to me. He's third right now. Josh Jacobs, and then James Robinson. But anyways, listen, the whole story of James Robinson and why we like him here in Jacksonville, it's also the detriment to why you never know. This guy may not make, it's crazy to say, may not make the Pro Bowl. Just because I still feel like he's not a household name quite yet. Now, it helps that he plays running back, and obviously there's the fantasy football effect, and you have to like that. But I don't see the news sources. I don't see the national guys talking about James Robinson a lot. Now, every once in a while, maybe get some love here or there. But I see a lot of Kareem Hunt. I see a lot of. I still see Hilaire, and they brought in Le'Veon Bell to split the reps with him, right? So I think James Robinson deserves to be. I think that if he keeps on doing what he's doing, he's going to be hard to deny, without a doubt. And the way that he's running, and once again, knock on wood for this one, if he stays healthy, there's no way I feel like he's going to be denied. Because whether it's going to be Gardner Minshew going forward, or it's going to be Jake Luton, or for whatever reason, Mike Glennon, if you're Jay Gruden right now, the proof is in the pudding. And you run the football. You get the ball in James Robinson's hands. Now, I'm not sure exactly in terms of his receiving threat. And keep in mind, he's got a lot of receptions this year, but he's not the Alvin Kamara type, right? Not at least quite yet. He's not even like a Mike Davis type in Carolina. So I wonder if that hurts him a little bit, too, in the eyes of fantasy owners. Because, let's be honest, fantasy owners, they have a big say of who goes to the Pro Bowl and who doesn't. But I think in terms of story, in terms of what this dude's meant to a team, James Robinson is up there in the upper echelon, and he deserves to go to the Pro Bowl. The other guy, it's a no-brainer. It should be unanimous, and I think realistically, we should be talking about an all-pro nomination even more than a Pro Bowl, and that's Myles Jack. Myles Jack is playing possibly some of the best linebacking position right now in the entire NFL. Now, once again, it goes by the wayside because the defense is what it is this year. It goes by the wayside because, there's not a lot of nationally televised games for Jaguars, right? And the one game that was nationally televised on a Thursday night, the Dolphins curb stomped them. So Myles Jack could be kind of an afterthought. But if you're a Jaguars fan, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're not, you better do your research real quick because this guy's playing at a very, very high level. Whether it's tackles for losses, getting after the quarterback and blitzing, interceptions, knockdowns, pass breakups, this guy is doing it all. And it seems like he's really filled in that leadership role a little bit. Now, keep in mind, I understand last year playing middle linebacker, and he was the first guy to tell you, for lack of a better word, and I'm paraphrasing here, he said it himself. He blanked the bed, let's just say. And to me, that was, once again, a testament to the fact that he was playing out of position, right? I saw it. A lot of people saw it. Kudos to Myles Jack for trying to give it a go last year, but it wasn't his position. It's refreshing when you go from a guy last year, we're talking about this guy is like the top 5 highest paid middle linebackers in the NFL. Is he really getting that money? Come on, man. What are we doing in Jacksonville? You could have paid Jalen Ramsey. Could have paid Yannick Ngakoue. And now this year we're talking about Myles Jack where it's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, how much is he making? Yeah, go and double that. Like, he's earned it. And it's been a cool thing to see. Like, there hasn't been a lot of silver linings this year for this team. But Myles Jack, set aside from James Robinson, could be the biggest one. So Myles Jack's definitely going to the Pro Bowl. Whether he's going to be an All-Pro or not, that's still up for debate because, once again, I think the All-Pro, when you get voted on by the media members and things like that, they still take into account the record and tackles and things like that. But, man, I think if you just turn on the film and watch Myles Jack play in and play out, how could you not root for that guy? Like, he's doing so well. I just worry that he's not getting enough eyeballs on him just from the way that this season's going. So James Robinson, Myles Jack for sure. Obviously, James Robinson should be in there as well. But if those guys don't get voted to the Pro Bowl, you're definitely going to have, you're going to have a couple choice words from me, Kuz. Let's just say that. And then we're going to have our own little website on ESPN 690 where it's going to be like my little blog where I say things like that. By the way, have we got the vote Yannick Ngakoue thing up yet on the website?
Still waiting to hear back from the boss man.
All right, I got you. Kuz, you're actually sharing this with me during our break here. And listen, we don't talk about this guy enough. I feel like Tom Coughlin talked about him more last year than we have all season this year. Logan Cook. Logan Cook was featured on the Jaguars Facebook page. And Kuz, can you kind of summarize of what he was doing in Green Bay with what seemed to be like a little canteen full of powder? I mean, is that a wrong observation?
No, I guess not. I don't know anything about hunting, so I feel like I'm not a good person to talk about this.
Sure.
But I guess he was using the smoke or dust or powder or whatever came out of the
canteen. We'll call it a canteen.
I don't even know what it was.
Yeah, a little sprayer bottle.
He was doing it so that he could see which way the wind was swirling, and it gave him an idea for the kicks.
Well, Kuz, you came to the right guy. Residential hunting expert Austin Lane here. You remember, I grew up in the Midwest. Went hunting with my grandpa for about 3 or 4 years back when I was, probably like in 5th or 6th grade. I went with him, getting up at 5:30 in the morning, go sit in the freezing cold in the wintertime. Nothing like it. The reason why I don't do it to this day. But with that being said, Kuz, and I'm not sure if this is a new thing. We should actually probably call up Scobie sometime or someone like that who, has a special teams background, because it's kind of a genius move. And basically what that tool was, I don't know what the name of it is, but what it is, it's like a little squirt bottle. So like, Visine eye drops, like what the container looks like, and when you spray it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when you press it, it shoots like this puff of smoke up. It's like this little powder smoky thing. And the wind will obviously push it, and you'll tell where the wind's blowing. Because when you're hunting, obviously, deer have an extreme
upwind, right?
Exactly, because deer have an extreme sense of smell. So if you're downwind, the deer can smell you. Well, now you're screwed, right? Because now the deer can smell you. They're not going to come by you. You don't get that. You don't get that big old venison steak for Thanksgiving, and it is what it is. So he brought this tool out there to kind of gauge exactly where the wind was blowing, I guess, for punting purposes. Now, did the Jaguars make a tactical error by showing this? Because one could beg the question, is that legal? I mean, I don't see why you couldn't use it, but the way the NFL is kind of sticklers sometimes, it makes you wonder if that's legal or not.
Yeah, well, that was my first thought. I was like, are you allowed to do that?
Listen, I think I trust the people in the Jaguar social media department where they would know better if that thing was not legal, right? But they wouldn't post a picture of it in high depth, to show, hey,
and
look
then
what Cook's doing.
Explain how the camera shot was.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, can you read that camera shot off the Jaguars Facebook thing? Like, you want to talk about in depth? And I can pull this up too. This is obviously some kind of like marketing thing.
Yeah, photographer Rick Wilson behind the lens, Nikon D4
Hit
lens.
us with it. Come on.
I don't even know what that is.
You got to keep going.
400 millimeter.
Yep.
F2.8
there
exposure,
it is.
1/3200 seconds at f over. Okay.
Okay. Now let's be honest. How many people on that Facebook page read that and were like, "Yep, makes sense. Yep, yeah, that looks about right." I don't know, Kuz, maybe a 1%.
I'm just impressed that even the smoke is in focus. Like the background's out of focus, the smoke is in focus.
Well,
like,
listen,
it was a great photo.
Whatever those numbers mean, props to that guy for taking them. Like, I mean, obviously he had the right settings. They were the right settings. All those, there's 13 digits that he displayed on that Facebook page. They came in handy. Don't know what any of that means. Justin, Kuz, Drive and Dish podcast NBA draft tonight. Is it kind of crazy that we haven't talked about the NBA draft at all, and it's tonight? Like,
Yeah.
this is where we're at right now.
Well, it's one of those things where it's not like there's not like a Zion, you know?
Sure. Let's say John Morant as well. A little respect for the NBA
But
Rookie of the Year.
You had those guys in the last one, and between Ball and Edwards and Wiseman, there's some big names, but it's nothing that's like, oh man, this is going to be huge. And also, like, the teams that are picking first are. I don't know. It's kind of weird because it's the Timberwolves, the Warriors. I mean, the Bulls are picking fourth, so it's like fine, and the Hornets are up there as well. But you don't have that team at the bottom of the barrel like a Knicks team that's like, oh man, is this guy going to change everything around for him right away?
Sure.
Honestly, I don't know who the Warriors are going to pick because they don't need a rookie.
But isn't that intriguing though? Like, doesn't that get the eyeballs there? Because let's be honest, like. Minnesota Timberwolves, they've always kind of picked it with, in the top 5, top 6, and I don't think they really have like that big of a fan base. Once again, all due respect to Minnesota, but you guys are going to lose out on a draft pick when Yannick Ngakoue gets voted to the Pro Bowl, talking you Vikings fans out there. But the Golden State Warriors, man, like, listen, they're probably one of the favorites to win the title this year again, right? And now you're going to add the second pick of the draft or third pick of the draft?
They have the second, but they're probably the ones that if you had to, like, if there were betting odds.
Yeah.
They would probably be the one team that would be the least one to bet on because they might trade.
I got you. The rich keep getting richer, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they add Wiseman to the team, that's like the last piece they need because the problem is between Wiseman, Edwards, and Ball.
Yeah.
Edwards and Ball are guards.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need that on the Warriors, so it's kind of one of those things.
And obviously with the Driving Dish podcast, you know all about this, but what are they saying about this Ball brother coming out? Is he the best one? And is he probably going to go number 1 here?
They think he's going to go number 1. Right now, at least on NBA.com, they have Edwards predicted to go number 1. And I guess it depends on how you want your team. Like, both are considered stars that can come in and be huge for the team right off the rip.
Sure.
Ball needs a little bit more development on his shooting. So I guess if you're the Timberwolves, you have to decide, do you want your point guard to be a shooting point guard, one of your main scorers, or do you want them to facilitate the offense? And with the Timberwolves, you have Karl Anthony Towns, and you already have Russell, so you might not need that, which is why you might lean Ball.
Okay.
So that's kind of the way to look at it.
Well, and that kind of takes away from it, right? Like, there is no clear front runner. Right.
Not right now,
I mean, and like, I think, listen, there's always going to be talent in the NBA draft. Now, some years are obviously better than others, but like, I think if it showed us anything, like, go back to 2018 real quick, right? Like, Luka Doncic gets taken 3rd. Trae Young gets taken 5th overall. Like, Deandre Ayton was the number 1 pick. Now, I mean, I don't know how he's done his career, but he's not playing like Luka. He's not playing like Trae Young. So, like, to me, like, there's always going to be at least 1 or 2 guys in that draft that could be, like, the next superstars.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
These guys are.
There will be. It's just who is it going to be and where is it going to be? Like, you have, like, like we said, like, teams like the Knicks are kind of working with other picks that they have to try to maybe jump into that second pick with the Warriors, and then they can get their guy. But, yeah, there's probably going to be someone lower that we're going to look back and go, wow, they're the ones that were the stars of this draft.
Well, and then I see, right, that the Knicks are trading up a little bit to, like, trading up a few spots now?
Well, yeah, that's so they can pair that, I think it's the 23rd or 24th pick with the 8th pick to essentially try to move into the second pick.
Oh! Buckle your seatbelts, everybody. The Knicks are making moves. We know how this pans out. Hey, when we come back, because I got to ask you, James Harden, is he going to the Nets, man? I want to get your take on this when we come back here on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Hump Day. I'm Jake Mitchell. In the NFL, Deandre Baker gets a second chance after robbery charges in Florida against him were dropped. Baker was cleared when the alleged victim's attorney was charged with extortion. He'll be joining the Kansas City Chiefs after playing on the practice squad to get acclimated to the team. The shortened NBA season rolls on tonight with the NBA draft. The Minnesota Timberwolves had the first pick. Jay Bilas, college basketball analyst for ESPN, says the first pick could go a million different ways.
There are a whole bunch of really talented players further down in the draft that I think we could look back in future years and say that, heck, this sort of the power of this draft wasn't necessarily in the top 3. It was throughout the first round with the number of guys that can play important roles on NBA teams.
If you're working from home and want to listen to ESPN, tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 690.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
And the University of South Carolina just fired Muschamp and now owes him $15 million in buyout compensation. Meanwhile, the same university instituted mandatory furloughs for faculty as cost reduction. So we can't pay anybody, but we can pay Muschamp to make us a totally irrelevant program, which is what we were before we got there. His last name's as close as he'll ever get to a championship. You got to be kidding me.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stucats on ESPN Radio and ESPN Plus.
Why call a professional if you're only going to get a half solution? That's my philosophy. You called me to truly fix your problems like, boom, fixed and fixed right. So when Griffin Service offered full-service drain clearing, I insisted we take that approach. And for drains, it's not really about busting the clog. Sure, we'll do that better than anyone. But honestly, most Jake with a snake chuck in a truck plumbers can bust a clog. Professional quality drain clearing is really about taking an out-of-control situation and putting you, the client, back in control. I'm talking about transparency, with upfront pricing and camera work included in the price, so you know that the problem was fixed and fixed right. Because on the off chance you've got a bigger problem than clog busting can solve, you'll want to know you're dealing with a plumber you can trust, who has all the equipment to fix problems properly and guarantee the work. So call the plumbers to do it right at
GriffinService.com.
License number 1250697.
What can you get done in 10 minutes? Run a mile? Maybe. Find a date online for this Friday? Easy. What about listing your home for sale? In 10 minutes? Can't be possible. With the new Instant List tool from Rex, it is. Rex Instant List allows you to value and list your home with an agent in as little as 10 minutes. With the real estate market getting hotter, time is money. Let's get started. Visit sellwithrex.com. Since 2015, Rex has provided sellers with over $23 million in savings and absolutely no sacrifice on service. Have 10 minutes to spare? Visit sellwithrex.com to get started. Or speak to a Rex agent at 833-739-4663. 833-739-4663. That's 833-739-4663.
License number, Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
Worthless warranties, slimy salespeople, shady subcontractors. It's no wonder people don't trust most roofing companies. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting LLC, we didn't trust them either. That's why we started our own roofing company. With more than 25 years of experience, we offer industry-leading warranties, simple, fair financing, and no subcontractors. Residential, commercial, even multifamily properties. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting, we've got you covered. Learn more at allproroofingllc.com.
It's Daily Fantasy Simplified. It's as simple as over and under. PrizePicks.com or the PrizePicks app is the place that pits you against the numbers. Don't worry about your fantasy lineup or a big injury that might hurt your team. On PrizePicks, you simply select 2, 3, or 4 players and predict if they will go over or under their fantasy projections. It's easy, it's fun, it's one-on-one. You against the numbers. PrizePicks.com or the PrizePicks app. Use the promo code JAX, J-A-X, to get a 100% match on your first deposit. Get started at PrizePicks.com.
Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich is now in the 2 for $5, and that's reason to celebrate. Try the new classic and then take your mouth on a victory lap with the iconic day single, the delicious spicy chicken sandwich, spicy or crispy 10-piece nuggets, or just get another classic chicken sandwich. Taste greatness today with Wendy's 2 for $5. We got you.
For a limited time, a la carte only. Price and participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jackson, ESPN 690. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690.
Oh, we have to step up. We got to raise our game to a level that we haven't seen yet. So I think the
opportunities there for us. You know, when we're playing an elite team like Pittsburgh, they're not undefeated just because of their defense. They're playing with great team effort. They're physical. They can run. They pursue the football. But most of all, they're really sound in what they do. They protect the edges very well with those outside linebackers. Their inside linebackers can run. Their inside defensive linemen are big and strong. Hayward's one of the best in the business at his position. Safety, Minka's doing a heck of a job of just being a ball hawk. And obviously their corners are holding up very well. So really not a lot of weaknesses there. They're sound, they're tough, they're strong, and they run to the ball.
That is not Frank Caliendo. It's not John Gruden. It is Jay Gruden. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are the greatest team ever assembled. Just ask the coaches playing against them. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are the best 1-8 team ever. Just ask Mike Tomlin. Hey, everybody. Brent Martineau here along. Thanks to Austin and Coos for all. I'm assuming it was like a half hour of NBA talk. Got that out of the way. We don't have to do any more, Austin?
Oh, no, man. We're changing the game. We got a new thing on our website we got to put up. We're going to vote Yannick Ngakoue to the Pro Bowl. So that's going to be our main mission now. So we're doing that.
Yes, good. I mean, you're on that. I like that. That was good today.
That's what we opened with. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. I mean, James Robinson, Myles Jack belong in, and so does Yannick Ngakoue, quite frankly.
Exactly. I mean,
have we ever loved a fourth-round pick more?
You're not lying, man, right? Like, listen, it's been a year, Brent. We can't agree on anything. And even if you're a Jaguars fan, is Minshew the guy? Is he not the guy? Yada, yada, yada. We can all agree on one thing, that Yannick Ngakoue should go to the Pro Bowl. So let's rally behind that and let's have some fun.
Did you tease James Harden and the Nets? Is that what I
Yes,
heard?
sir. Yep.
Did you already talk NBA draft tonight?
I mean, yeah, let's be honest. It's the NBA draft tonight. So we spent like 3 minutes on it, and that's all it deserves. But I think the bigger stories are, what's going to happen with James Harden? Where some other stars possibly going to go. Yeah,
you had to reel Coos into the show, Drive and Dish podcast, and talk a little bit about the NBA at the start, I would imagine. That's good by you. That's good work.
Well, I had to get his attention because he's watching Judge Judy back there. It can be very distracting.
I don't know what – you know how many texts I have to send Coos to get his attention? I thought kids lived on their phones these days. I mean, it takes a while
Coos, I'm not going to speak for you, Coos. You got it.
I was going to say, I was on air talking about the draft when you sent that last text, so I was a little busy.
Hey, sorry, Brent. We were working. Not sure what you were doing.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Trying to find new work.
We good?
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
All good. Everybody's good. Hey, doctor's note. I'm cleared. I'm ready to come back tomorrow.
Cool.
So there you go. That's exciting.
Did you have to get a doctor's note, actually?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, you have to. I don't even know what we're. I mean, I don't know. I'm so confused now at some of the protocols that are just like, are they our protocols that where we work, or are they just protocols in general? Because I got to be honest with you, kind of tuned COVID-19 out a few months ago.
Sure.
Like I was a little COVID-19 out, unless it related to sports, and then we had to talk about it. So I stopped kind of seeing everything I had to pay attention to until it was time to pay attention to it. And but bottom line is 2 negative tests and a doctor's note if you want to get back inside 14 days, I think is kind of the thing. What's crazy is, like, even in the kids' school, if you get quarantined, which means you've been contact traced to be around somebody who tested positive, you have to stay out 14 days, no questions asked. There's no doctor's notes coming back in, anything like that. So you have to do that. But the person that got it can come back, no questions asked, 10 days later.
Huh.
Isn't that odd?
That's very weird.
It's never been easier to get out of class.
I know, right, man? What a time to be alive, though, if you're a student.
Yeah, it's really strange. The whole thing's weird, but, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. We're living in it. James Harden to the Nets, I mean, at least give people a teaser. Is it going to happen or no? Go.
Coos, go ahead.
I think it will.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to coexist there?
He either will, or the Rockets are going to deal with the most awkward season they're in for.
Really? Wait, so he's going to coexist in Brooklyn?
Yeah, it'll work. I just don't know if the Rockets are actually going to do it. It's like the upset player thing. Are you going to let the player win?
$50 million a year for... I mean, listen, I know we're going to break here, but, like, don't you think James Harden owes a little bit to that organization? I mean, let's be honest here.
For what?
Well, they kind of built the team around him. They
that doesn't work,
though.
Their whole thing was...
I don't care if it didn't work or not. Like, that's the fact.
Their whole thing is they wanted shooting. They just went for this weird shooting small ball lineup. It didn't work, and now he wants out.
But do you know why? It didn't, regardless if it worked or not, but, dude, that whole offense was built around him. The whole small ball thing was because of James Harden. Now, they had Clint Capella for a while, but I'm saying, is there any kind of allegiance that James Harden owes Houston? Nothing.
Loyalty? Nah, especially since he's not clutch at all. I got a question about the Nets, about Kyrie Irving. We'll talk football, too, in the next hour, but I do have a hoop question or two. We'll do it next. Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. As the seasons change, there's one thing that never changes: the importance of clean drinking water. A Connecticut system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. Now that's clean, and that's also why our family has a Connecticut system from CGC Water. Yours can too. Right now, CGC Water is offering a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. Connecticut Premier Softeners are non-electric and have twin tanks, making them super efficient, saving you money. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Schedule your free water test today and get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Remember, this is a limited time offer, a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. Financing available with approved credit. Just call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Need your carpet and tile looking great for the special holiday party? Give Zero Res a call. Zero Res technicians are cleaning freaks.
Hi, it's Phil with the Phil Aiken Home Team at Keller Williams. When it comes time to sell your home, put me and the Aiken Home Team to work for you. Here's why. Over the years, I've perfected the home selling system, putting the most money possible in your pocket. With my exclusive list of buyers in waiting, I may already have your buyer. And with thousands of buyers, I'm likely to create more demand and higher sales prices. I'll even guarantee to sell your home at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it myself. Don't just take it from me. Let me introduce actual clients, Lynn and Craig. Tell us about your home selling experience.
We were immediately at ease. We had a great deal of confidence that any questions we had or anything that we needed to learn about the process was going to be handled in an expert and professional way.
We sold our home in just 2 days for $3,500 more than list price. Anyone who wants to sell needs to call Phil Aiken Home Team.
Thanks for sharing. The number to call is 904-500-PHIL. That's 904-500-7445. Or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
One of the easiest ways to offer local kids a great Christmas is through Jewish Family and Community Services. Help us make this holiday season shine. Jewish Family and Community Services. Here for giving, here for Jax.
Hi, it's Nathan from Gordon Chevy in Orange Park. Used car values are at an all-time high, and new car prices have never been lower. This is a win-win for you because you get a great deal on a new car and a great value on your trade-in. It's like all the stars are in alignment. Listen, we'd love to show you a new Chevy, and we want your trade, even if you don't buy from us. Stop in today and let us show you how good it gets. Gordon Chevy, South Orange Park, on the money-saving end of Blanding, or online at gordonchevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
Adding a leader you need right when you need them. That's how sports teams get ahead and how your business can too. LinkedIn will match the right talent with your open roles fast. Post a job and you'll get great candidates with the right mix of skills, interest, and experience. So every hire you make is a win for your business. Go to linkedin.com/sports and get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
High school football is back. Listen Friday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Blitz High School Scoreboard Show. Presented by Honda of the Avenues. Action Sports Jack's Brent Martineau takes you around Northeast Florida for up-to-the-minute scores and highlights from your favorite teams. The Blitz High School Scoreboard Show. Presented by Honda of the Avenues. Friday nights at 9 p.m. on ESPN 690.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Bob, being the basketball historian that you are, you know more about basketball than all of us. Who would you compare Jason Tatum to?
A poor man's Kevin Durant.
Stugotz is dancing around the studio. Poor man's Kevin Durant. It means not Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, though.
Means not Kevin Durant.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Well, Ben Ellison, you know what I'm saying, the tight end, the free agent tight end that we have from North Dakota State. He's another guy that's come in and has done a nice job, as far as, the tight end position. I'm just so focused on, the Pittsburgh stuff. It's hard, Gary. You know what I'm saying, to go back in there. I just probably go through the roster, and it's hard to, say those guys, some guys, they're progressing well, and but obviously it's not at a point where we can overcome, some deficiencies as far as, what our record is.
That is Doug Marrone. Trying to get ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers, trying to win a game. They haven't won one since the opening week. It's been 2 months for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's why we ask, what are Victory Mondays? Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers have not had a losing Monday yet this year. And not too many people think they'll have one next Monday either, but we will see. Brent Martineau here at home for one more day. Action Sports Jack studios are filled with Austin Lane and Justin Kuzart. We call him Kuz. NBA draft tonight. Probably get a little more of that talk since George Bulldog could go number one. Who will go number one? What are the odds makers saying? Where's the hidden surprise in the NBA draft? Is there one? Why is this us that are not locked in on the NBA draft, or is this an NBA draft that just didn't come with the fanfare of, say, last year like Zion Williamson, and because of the lack of March Madness? Because we usually fall in love or see guys that maybe we don't know much about and say, oh, okay, that guy's going to be in the NBA soon. Let's pay attention to him. We'll get into that in a bit. I want to finish the conversation, though, on James Harden. You asked the question, should he show some loyalty to the Rockets who built everything around him? First of all, there's no loyalty in sports from at all anymore. It doesn't feel like it from both sides. So I would say they gave it a whirl, Austin, and it didn't work out. And, yeah, thanks for building it around me, but we couldn't get it done. Yeah, at the end of the day, I just don't think James Harden was clutch enough or has proven that he's clutch enough in the big moments, more so a few years back in the playoffs than most recently. But I don't think he can get it done by himself.
Do you think LeBron James, though, staying in Cleveland or going back to Cleveland to win a championship kind of showed loyalty?
Man, I think in a way it did, but I also that one has a different feel to me, even more so now. I think he is so in touch with history and a legacy, and always has been, that I can't sit here and say the motivation was pure loyalty to his hometown folks of Akron and the Cleveland area. I think it was, let's go make some history and do something that nobody's done here before. Because if I say yes to that question, then I have to say, okay, why did he leave? If I say yes to that question, I have to say, well, why did he leave again to go to L.A.? I think he is so aware of all the stuff that I think this had as much to do with legacy as it did loyalty for LeBron.
Okay, well, then let me ask you this one. If Giannis Antetokounmpo chooses to re-sign in Milwaukee, is that a fact of loyalty?
Well, first of all,
is there loyalty just out of sports completely?
I think I don't think. Here's what would show me it was a sign of loyalty, man. If he says, "Hey, don't give me the max deal. I'd rather you go spend that money on somebody else so we can come win a championship here." And he's not going to do that. He's going to get the max deal because he should get the max deal. It's a business. I think it's a fit. I think if he thinks it's a better fit, I don't think it's because you found me and brought me here, I'm going to repay you. That's loyalty. That's kind of like, hey, I'm sticking with you because you believed in me. I'm believing in you. We're going to win big here. I just don't think they say it that way. And by the way, this isn't just a player thing. I honestly don't think coaches and front offices say it that way anymore either.
Oof. See, I wholeheartedly disagree. I think if Giannis Antetokounmpo chooses to stay in Milwaukee, that shows loyalty. Because go ahead, Goose.
I would say I think it would be loyalty if he didn't make them trade to prove themselves worthy of him re-signing.
Well, that wasn't his call. Like, they did that. Like that.
Well, yeah, but you don't trade 3 first-rounders for Drew Holiday if you don't think Giannis was like, hey, prove it to me. Listen, show me a better team and I'll re-sign.
You're going to trade 3 first-rounders if you're going to be picking 29-30 every single year. Absolutely. That's a great deal.
I mean, I agree, but if you're losing Giannis, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to lose Giannis, you don't trade 3 first-rounders because you are then rebuilding.
Listen, we're referring to Drew Holiday, and then they got Bogdanovic, too, now from Sacramento.
Yes.
And, no, I get what you're saying, Kuz. It's the ultimate boomer bust in terms of the Milwaukee Bucks, right? They went all in and said, hey, Giannis.
We're doing this for you.
We're getting all this for you, so either take it or leave it. Now, if Giannis leaves, Milwaukee is absolutely screwed, and you're not wrong about that. Like, if Giannis leaves, Milwaukee's going back to the dark ages, like, hands down, because they've lost all their future capital. So I agree with you there, Kuz.
Jack Sikma,
there we go. But Kuz, to try to counter that point a little bit, though, I don't think Giannis asked him to do that. Like, I don't think, Giannis has said before, like, yeah, he wants to win in Milwaukee, and that's all he's said. But I think Milwaukee kind of took it upon themselves. It's like, hey, let's do everything in our power to make sure Giannis stays. Now, once again, I'll repeat myself. I think if Giannis does indeed stay, I think that's an example of loyalty, regardless of what they have in terms of positions. Because let's be honest, man, it's Milwaukee, all right? Like, and I love Milwaukee. I love the city. I love the Brewers, all that stuff. But it's not L.A. It ain't Boston. It ain't like going to Dallas right now and playing with Luka. Like, there's something to be said, I think, that if he's going to choose to stay. And I think it's an example of loyalty. So while I think loyalty is definitely lost these days on the professional athlete, I still think that there is some of it there. And I think that James Harden, if he was truly, had that dog in him and truly believed in loyalty, he would try to make it work in Houston.
Here's loyalty, in my opinion. Loyalty is Larry Fitzgerald. Loyalty is a guy that says, you know what, I'm going to keep coming back here on a 1-year deal. I could, retire, but I want to see this thing. I want to help you through this thing. I'm not going to be the guy anymore, but I want you to be good. I want our young guys to be, I can help. I can help with this transition. The other part is he could go to a front runner. He could easily have jumped ship as a free agent and gone somewhere. And now it's a couple of times, I believe, for Larry Fitzgerald to say, no, I'm staying here. That's, to me, a bigger sign of loyalty. It's too much of a business, man. Loyalty doesn't exist in sports anymore. Loyalty doesn't exist at all in the college ranks, and it sure as hell doesn't exist, I think, in the professional ranks. I think this is not him being disloyal. I think this is James Harden realizing he can't do it himself. And if he stays in Houston, he's going to sink into an abyss. And that abyss is nobody's going to talk about the Rockets anymore because they're not going to be that good. You know who everybody's talking about? The Lakers. They're talking about the Nets. They might keep talking about the Bucks. They might start talking about the Pelicans. They're talking about teams like that and no longer talking about the Rockets because they're just okay. He's a good or a great player on an okay team. And so I think he wants some of the action. I think he wants to be where it's happening. I think that's kind of why LeBron went too. He wants to be in the Mecca, and I think that feeds these guys. So I don't believe it's being disloyal. I also know I don't think Harden thinks this way, but I think this is a smart decision on his part because, quite frankly, he can't do it himself. He's proven that he can't. They can't win. He needs to go find Durant and Irving or something like that if he wants to win big. I don't know what a championship means to him. It might mean a ton. I don't know. We never know. They're all going to say it means a ton. You just never really know. But I think he has to go, find somewhere if he wants to win it all, because he ain't winning it on his own.
Well, and that's fine. And he's definitely trying to do that, and I'm not going to dispute that. At the same time, though, if you do try to go to Brooklyn and you leave Houston, guess what? The history books aren't going to remember you being a champion. They're going to remember you taking the coward's way out and saying, I had to go play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving because I couldn't do it myself. Like, there was an example of loyalty when Kawhi Leonard was in Toronto, right? And he left. He went to the LA Clippers. But you know what? He won a championship for them. And he did it on a team where nobody really knew who any of those other players were. Like, you had Van Fleet, you had OG, you had a couple guys. But let's be honest, they're not household names. But Kawhi Leonard did it himself. He put it on his back. And I think this year, like, yes, you had Tyler Hero. You had Spoelstra as the coach. But it was a lot of Jimmy Butler and that Miami Heat. So I think, if anything, basketball has showed us the past 3 or 4 years is that you don't necessarily have to have the super team of all super teams to be successful. If you play as a team and you have that dog in you, you can be successful and maybe contend for a championship.
Let me just ask you this. Kevin Durant, how do people remember him right now before he even begins his career with the Nets?
Well, there's a reason why they call him the Snake.
No, the casual basketball fan remembers him on the Golden State Warriors winning championships and putting them over the top.
Yeah,
again.
And anybody that follows the NBA refers to him as a snake or a cupcake.
Okay, but again, and not everyone does that. That's not true. Not everyone. You're telling me there's not a lot of diehard NBA fans that are Durant fans? I don't think so. And by the way, he wasn't loyal to Oklahoma City. And you know what? He went and won. My point being, we remember him now. We're going to remember him at the end of the day because he won and he was part of that historic Warriors team. We're not going to remember that he left Oklahoma City.
I mean, I am, but listen, this is because I was following the situation, though. I mean, this is the guy who literally, when he won the NBA title, he had a cupcake on the insert of his basketball shoe, and he showed it off. Like, he embraced kind of like the heel roll a little bit. Like, I get it. Like, that Warriors team, yeah, probably one of the best teams of all time, and I will not take that away from him. But also, like, to me, that was still Steph Curry's team, right? Like, if you ask me right now, like, Steph Curry's still there. Durant's gone. So, yes, while Kevin Durant is definitely one of the best basketball players right now to do it, the guy's an absolute freak in nature, and I'm never going to talk bad about his playing abilities. But to sit here and tell me that when he went to Golden State, like, nobody kind of turned their nose at that a little bit and said, well, come on, man, what are you doing? Like, I get it. You won a championship, mission accomplished, congratulations. But I think the hardcore audience of the NBA didn't support that.
Yeah, point being, he was disloyal. I don't disagree with you. He was disloyal to Oklahoma City. He was a bit of a snake there. But he's going to be remembered for being as part of one of the great teams of all time. He's going to be remembered for winning championships on that team. And really for, even though it wasn't his team, being the best player on that team in crunch time. He added to his brand by going to Golden State. And I don't think there's anything more to add to Harden's brand by staying in Houston. If he's going to add to his brand as champion or as whatever else, clutch guy, he's got to go somewhere else to find it. And I think he's kind of in that Durant situation right now to do so. The other part of this one that gets to me is I think the interest – do people talk about this enough? Kuz, you pay attention to the basketball circles a lot, the underbelly of it. I mean, how's Kyrie Irving going to do with this? Kyrie Irving couldn't deal with LeBron in Cleveland, had to go be a star somewhere else. That didn't work in Boston, and here he is now going to play second fiddle most likely to Durant, and now you're going to bring in Harden, potentially, who will have the ball in his hands all the time, much like Irving wants the ball in his hands all the time, much like Durant wants the ball in his hands all the time. I think Irving's the bigger problem here in Brooklyn.
There are a lot of questions of his ability to be a good teammate and if his teammates actually enjoy playing with him a lot. I think that kind of goes back to the Celtics days. But I think there's a thought that it'll work because Harden can play a lot of off-ball, so Kyrie can still be the ball handler. And then you just kind of run it essentially like the Thunder team did. Instead of it being Westbrook, it's Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Go ahead, Austin.
Well, and I think Kyrie's going to fit a little better in Brooklyn than he did in Boston. Like, to me, playing in Boston and that organization, that culture, it takes a certain kind of mindset, right? And I don't think Kyrie really had that mindset to play in Boston. Like, you have to be the guy there. Remember like when Paul Pierce, Paul Pierce for a while, a.k.a. The Truth, was the guy there. Now, he would go 0 for 14 some nights. Didn't matter. Like, he still thought that he was the guy. I feel like Kyrie Irving is kind of more of like, he's in his own headspace so much where he's up and he's down, he's up and he's down. And I don't want to say he didn't have the dog in him in Boston, but he just kind of seemed like a head case when he was there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it didn't work out at all. I think Kyrie Irving's a fantastic player.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, the last however long, I mean, for a guy that from a finisher around the basket, I think he's so special. Like when him and LeBron were together, what he would do around the basket, I thought was tremendous. I thought it was underrated. I thought he was, but then he became kind of like he wanted to be the guy, and I don't know if he's ever going to be the guy because he was on LeBron's team, and it didn't work out in Boston where it was like, oh, my gosh, you're the guy. It was more like they were a team, and now he's going to go to a place where Durant's going to be the guy.
Because, listen, the kind of the theme of this whole conversation here is obviously loyalty. Would you really agree with me in terms of loyalty? Dirk Nowitzki is up there in terms of some of the highest loyalty you can see in the NBA? Because this was a guy who was obviously on the back nine of his career, but I felt like he stayed around as long as he could to make sure that he could pass the keys on to the next generation.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good call. Yeah, I think there are guys of it. You got to go – if you go way back, this is an easier case to make. Guys didn't switch teams as much.
Correct.
Now it's like nothing to switch teams.
Mm-hmm.
It just isn't. I mean, if Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are switching teams, I mean, the only guy that could have switched teams, I think, at some point that never did, and maybe they just weren't going to let him get away, is like Derek Jeter in sports. Like, he's the only guy that that was like, wow, at least he didn't change teams, right?
Yeah, true.
So I think it's not even a storyline anymore. I mean, it's just a business. It's just the way it is. Like, there is not a player on the planet that I believe, even if they're great, are going to stay with their team the entire career. I just don't think it's going to happen. It doesn't happen. I mean, obviously, guys like Jalen Ramsey might bounce around a few different times. But, again, if Manning and Brady are bouncing around, Brady's situation is a little bit different because not too many guys play want to play until they're 45 years old.
Sure.
So it's a bit different. And he, if he had a normal career, he would have stayed there, for its entirety. But now Phillip Rivers bounced over to another team. I mean, all these guys bounced to another team. So I just, but I don't think it's necessarily a question of loyalty as much anymore. It's just business.
You think Aaron Rodgers eventually bounces to another team?
I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially since his successor already there.
Sure.
So you asking me in 3 years if Aaron Rodgers wants to play 2 more years, and it seems like he might be declining a shade, and we're asking that question, even though it might not really happen. Absolutely. I think he's gone, and they bring in Jordan Love. If not, Green Bay should get rid of Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they doing sitting there on wasting a first-round draft pick for the next 3-4 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so something's got to budge there.
Mm-hmm.
It would be interesting. Hey, did you see out of the NFL, everybody's going to the intense protocols now with the COVID-19. The NFL has mandated that, which means mask wearing inside the building, virtual. Jags had been in this for a couple of weeks when they had the practice squad stuff happen. I think I just saw word that the Raiders' entire defense is going on the COVID-19 list.
Correct. I believe it was the Raiders' defensive line.
Defensive line, I'm sorry. Didn't they have their whole offensive line like a couple of weeks ago?
Correct.
Go on the list?
Yeah. So now, what does that mean again? Like they came in contact with somebody?
The contact tracing.
Okay.
And so where are we at with this? Like, isn't the NFL – like, we asked this question, right? Everybody asks the question, are you going to finish the season? And what have I said since day one? I think you've been with me here, Austin. Yeah. They're going to finish. They are going to get to the finish line. I thought some people today, they were, like, shocked that we made it this far. Hey, if you fired it up, you're going to finish the fire. You're going to let it burn out, man. And it's happening. Because look at the hoops college football's jumping through. The SEC had 4 games canceled last week. There's more games being canceled this week. Miami's out for the next couple weeks. Notre Dame's already been out. Trevor Lawrence missed 2 games. I mean, it doesn't matter. It does not matter if Kuz is playing center, I'm playing quarterback, and you're kicking. They are going to get through the season to get to the pot of gold at the end. And it doesn't matter what it looks like along the way. They are all in. And I think this is more of an example of it. The NFL is going to have to battle through it. But I think this is the NFL saying, listen, if we're going to get through this, we need the buy-in back. Like, we understand. You guys have been great. We've navigated this. But the numbers are spiking. And we have got to get this under control, at least in our own little headquarters and buildings and bubbles. if we want to finish the season, because now we're getting into the mid-November and December and January where this could really elevate in terms of the numbers. And, again, people feel different about the numbers and all that stuff. Bottom line is, from a business standpoint, the optics of that are not good if you start having numbers and trying to play through. So I think this is the NFL getting ahead of it. They see what's coming. And they also know, listen, it's a long time to ask guys to buy in like this, isn't it? And here they are saying, listen, we need it. You got to do this stuff. We got to do everything we can to get to the finish line, and this is one of the steps they're taking.
No, without a doubt. This is more, I guess, of a football, like an NFL-related question than it's college football. But listen, I mean, and regardless of what you think about the pandemic and COVID-19, I mean, the numbers are speaking for themselves, right? We just said the Raiders' defensive line, they're all on the list right now, and I'm sure more teams are going to follow suit from there. Let's fast forward to the playoffs, right? So whether that's going to be January. Let's fast forward there real quick. And obviously you've added the implementation where you can bring more teams out of the playoffs. That's great and everything like that. But what are we talking about here? Like, what happens if, like, literally, you know, like a whole defensive line getting ready to play in a playoff game, they test positive, right? Or all of a sudden, like, they get added to that list and they got to sit out. I mean, I get what you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me, well, it is what it is. I mean, that's the rules. You go out there and play. But, I mean, isn't it kind of hard to co-sign on that and say, all right, well, you know, they're missing half their team. Let's do this playoff game anyways? Like, you see what I'm trying to say here, Brent? Like, if you're going to reward a team like with like a 3 or 4 seed, right, and then they got to play a playoff game, and all of a sudden they can't even field a team, like, what do you do then? I guess is my question.
Yeah, I think there will be a little bit of flexibility to try to get the game played with as much as a football team has. But there's this 16-man practice squad for a reason.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to navigate that. Now, again, are there some things that are movable? Probably. I don't know how movable the Super Bowl is. Like, if you move it, if you say in third week of January, hey, we got to move things back. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not bad because the amount of people are going to be there is different anyway, all that stuff. So that's the big thing. The big thing is how does it impact that last game, because that's what you're building toward. But the other stuff, if you have to slide a week, if you have to play on Tuesday and then play again on Sunday, you know what? Again, man, I don't think the NFL wants it.
Yeah.
I don't think the teams want it. But I just think we all know, and I think they know. I think if you listen to the coaches, I think if you listen to the players, they know, hey, guys, this is not your ordinary year. And if we want to get this in, we're going to have to do some things that are a little bit out of the ordinary. And again, I'm being overdramatic and silly here, but I said if that means me playing defensive tackle one game, as long as the game is on CBS 47 around the country at 4 o'clock on Sunday in January,
yeah.
And as long as those sponsors have paid for the ad money,
yeah,
we're playing.
But let me ask you this real quick.
Be my first career playoff game, by the way.
I'd pay to see that. You said you do it for like $1 million. Real quick, though. So college football. Let's say it gets delayed in terms of the college football playoff, and it gets to the point where players choose to opt out because it's too close to the combine, and they're getting ready for their next careers. Does the college football playoff lose its luster then if you don't have a lot of the starters just because they're getting ready for the NFL?
Yeah, I think it does a little bit. I think it does. But I think it's not enough to cancel it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not enough to cancel it. Yeah. I think the eyeballs might be down even a little bit, but it's still a lot of eyeballs.
Sure.
Right? Yep. So I think it's just something we have to continue to deal with. Hey, not so good news out of Florida State. I mean, what else is new, right? I mean, my goodness.
It's the theme of the year, Brent.
I might have to play quarterback in Tallahassee.
Now
I got another year of eligibility. Sign me up.
Scoot over Chuba, sorry.
Yeah, well, Chuba's out. I'll tell you why. We'll have the latest from there and more when we come back on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 6.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly sunny, breezy, and cool today with highs only in the 60s, dropping into the 40s tonight. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. It's Beard's Diamonds 40th anniversary sale. Save up to 40% off store-wide till November 30th.
Hey, let me tell you about Fields Auto Group. Our family absolutely loves it. It's had such a good experience with them. My wife is leasing a Cadillac XT6, so Fields Cadillac Jacksonville was awesome to work with. They've been great to work with ever since we got the car, and it's a beauty of a car, too. Different level customer service with Fields Auto Group, and that's what you want when you buy a vehicle. No matter what you're driving, you can step up to luxury for less. Now, at any of the Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville, Cadillac, they have Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. So something for everyone. It's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, and we're going to get a taste of that this week because Steph, my wife, is going to get one of the complimentary loaners that they have. She's going to take advantage of that this coming weekend. Also, car washes and cafes. Whatever you're driving, see Fields and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Do what we did. Visit fieldsauto.com.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, we've been celebrating 10 years in business. Over the years, we've constructed thousands of projects in the Northeast Florida region. From commercial to residential, we handle each project with the respect and care it deserves. We look forward to speaking with you about your next construction project. Find out more at lloydsconstruction.net.
Boss, have you heard the latest about the ding-dong doorbell cameras?
What, more employees spying on customers?
Nope.
Hackers again?
No, boss, this time they had to recall over 350,000 video doorbells.
Recall? What happened?
A bunch of them caught fire.
Whoa, unbelievable. It's one thing after another with them.
Yeah. Notice you never heard that with Safe Touch's video cameras?
Well, now you're just comparing a Bentley with a bumper car.
Exactly. I just don't understand why any homeowner wouldn't go with Safe Touch.
Yeah, their video monitoring's virtually hack-proof. Oh, and here's a bonus. Safe Touch cameras don't burst into flames.
No kidding.
It's just a good thing not everyone knows about Safe Touch, because we got to stick to the Crooks R Us golden rule. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah, don't gotta tell me twice.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Suddenly, you're on the receiving end of someone else's negligence. What do? You call 1-800-ASK-GARY. They will help you find the legal and medical help you need to get the settlement you deserve. 1-800-ASK-GARY.
After the year we've had, Diamonds Direct thinks she deserves something really special. So our annual pre-holiday store-wide sale is bigger and better and longer than ever. All this week you get an extra 20% savings on virtually everything. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, an expanded selection from all our top designers. You save 20% and more. Special financing too. It's happening now through Sunday. The last store-wide sale before Christmas with the best prices all year. Now through Sunday at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway, just left of the Hyatt.
The ultimate Christmas tradition is heading home for the holidays. Don't miss Moscow Ballet's digital stream premiere of The Great Russian Nutcracker, Saturday, December 19th. Enjoy the full-length performance of Moscow Ballet's Great Russian Nutcracker as captured on stage. Save 15% on tickets today with promo code HEART. That's HEART at MoscowBallet.com. Get up close with online meet and greets and party packages at MoscowBallet.com.
Worthless warranties, slimy salespeople, shady subcontractors. It's no wonder people don't trust most roofing companies. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting LLC, we didn't trust them either. That's why we started our own roofing company. With more than 25 years of experience, we offer industry-leading warranties, simple, fair financing, and no subcontractors. Residential, commercial, even multifamily properties. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting, we've got you covered. Learn more at allproroofingllc.com.
During the Happy Honda Day sales event, your local Honda dealer can make it a reality. Clearance pricing on all Honda models? Got it. Top dollar for your trade? Got it. Special financing? Got it. Going on now at your local Honda dealer. Don't miss this sales event. We are dealing.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Austin Lane.
I want you to put yourself in Leonard Fournette's shoes. Probably a little bigger shoes than you're rocking right now. Shocker, you're wearing sandals, and that's all good, though.
Brent Martineau.
Well, you are too. They're just like, I mean, they're just like, look like
might
Vans.
as well be. I might as well be.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Yeah, I mean, you always like to sprinkle the ball around and make sure James is fresh, especially going into the fourth quarter in some of these close games. But for the most part, you know, we're trying to establish a run and be physical. We know what James can do and what he brings to the table. As long as he's healthy, as long as his stamina's in check, then I think he needs to get the ball.
That is Jay Gruden. You better give him the ball.
Better believe it.
1, he's your best offensive weapon. 2, let's get that young man to a Pro Bowl and finish off this storybook season for the Robinson family.
For sure.
Listen, has been a good year in Jacksonville for the Jags, but don't tell that to James Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
He is living a dream right now and earning it, but living one. I always wonder this, Austin. How many guys, if given the opportunity and placed in the right situation, would be like James Robinson is this year? There were 2 teams that were even interested in him, even after the draft. The Jags and I think it was San Francisco, and that's it. And so I always wonder this, even though you have 7 rounds of the draft and you have undrafted free agents and you have scouts all over the place, how many guys, if given the chance, more than just like a play or 2 or whatever, could do what James Robinson is doing, or is he that much of an outlier to be able to do what he is doing?
No, I mean, he's definitely an outlier, but the difference between this year than other years is the fact that if you were an undrafted free agent, you had a very long shot to make the team, right? Because you couldn't have any preseason games to go off of. You didn't really even have a lot of live reps to go off of. So, listen, I mean, regardless of how you feel about this coaching staff this year, the one thing more probably than anything they got right was obviously James Robinson. I mean, they're the first ones at the party. They were saying, we're going to let Leonard Fournette go. We really like this James Robinson kid. Now, obviously come from a small school, and maybe they didn't get a chance to meet with him a lot. Other teams didn't. But for whatever reason, you know, the Jaguars possibly saw something in him. Now, once again, and I'm very adamant about this. Now, whether or not James Robinson was on the Jaguars' radar from day one, so be it. But if they really valued him that much, then they would have drafted him like in the 6th or 7th round, right? Yeah. So, I mean, the guy was an undrafted free agent. So, like, I get it. He came here, and it is what it is. But, like, how much did you really covet him because of the fact that you didn't actually draft him in the first place? But with that being said, though, Brent, it's extremely rare, especially nowadays. With what you're dealing with COVID and everything, it's like a once-in-a-million type of opportunity, I feel like, and obviously he's making the most of it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and he's good. That's the thing. Like, you kind of know this isn't a fluke. When you do it for 9 games and the way it looks, like, that's not fluky.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could wonder, let's just say Keelan Cole, when he came about and he came up, like, when he was a younger player, and he'd show a flash and stuff, you're like, okay, but that could be fluky. Now, it turns out, overall, he's been pretty good. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a fluke. Oh, he has lacked consistency. But bottom line is it wasn't a fluke. His undrafted free agent now has been in the league for 4+ years. And he's going to probably get a pretty decent payday, I would suspect, next year. I mean, decent, nothing crazy. So James Robinson, though, you can tell, like, this guy's the goods. You know, and there's no question about it. So I want to ask you another question about that And something we didn't get to yesterday because we had so much Kyler Murray talk by the fire pit about the preseason and the Jags. And I feel like sometimes our conversation might go in another way, and then I can show you James Robinson and what he's done without a preseason. So get to that in a moment. But I did want – we teased this, and so I'm going to deliver on it. And that is Florida State. Listen, we don't have to spend 10 minutes talking about Florida State, but it's worth noting once again, Chubba Purdy now is out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy has surgery, broken collarbone, comes back. We finally get a taste of him, and he's going to probably play more, and he's going to start against Clemson because Jordan Travis got hurt. And now he's out. He's got some issues around the collarbone area. I guess there's some leftover stuff, if you will. And so he'll be out for the rest of the year. Long term, he'll be fine. But, bam, Chubba Purdy out. James Blackman transferring. Jordan Travis has been in and out. Now he looks like he'll get the start against Clemson. So at least you got a guy who can play. And then, I mean, they have 2 healthy quarterbacks, Tate Rodemaker, who's done really nothing, and Jordan Travis. I mean, it's a remarkable first year. Remarkable first year for Mike Norvell. I mean, I'm just like, I'm not an FSU fan. I mean, obviously we have the games on ESPN 690. I'm not a Gator fan, not a dog. I don't have a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
I just think every time I see a headline on Florida State, all I can think about is, holy cow, Mike Norvell. I hope somebody's rolling on cameras behind the scenes for this documentary all year.
Yeah, so to get a little more in depth with Purdy's, what's going on with him, so he had collarbone surgery, and the hardware that was used to, I guess, whether it's repair or whatever the case may be, that hardware, for whatever reason, has inflammation in it. Now, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but obviously I can't feel too good. So he's out for the rest of the season to get the inflammation of the hardware taken care of. So I'm not sure what the recovery time on that is. I'm not sure what that even really entails, but needless to say, he's out. And it's like the most Florida State thing of all Florida State things. And I mean that in the worst way possible, because I think we're on the same page. I think a lot of, Florida State fans would agree with me. Like, I think this year, Chubba Purdy was supposed to be the guy where it's like, this is the guy going forward, right? Like,
or at least find out, right?
Exactly. But this is something to tie your wagon around and say, all right, this is going to be the future of Florida State football, and I like what we see. And we see this happen all the time in college football. Right, you see the true freshman, or you see the young guy come in to take over, and what happens? He absolutely balls out, and it's like, we're going to be set for the next couple years. I mean, you're seeing it right now in Wisconsin, right? Of all places where the quarterback isn't really coveted, but like that's how Badger fans feel right now. And I think that's how, Florida State fans want to feel with Chubba Purdy. Now, his first game that he comes in, obviously, I think he goes 0 for 8, has a really bad showing. And then, his last game that he played in, it was more down than up against NC State. But now he's going, he's out for the season, and it's like, well, what did we really even see? Like, is he the guy going forward? Like, he was supposed to come in and be the savior, and we learned nothing. So, it's like I said, it's like the most Florida State thing to happen. And now you're left thinking, if you're a Florida State fan, well, what's going to be the plan going forward now at the quarterback position?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's the guy that basically pushed. I mean, they pushed Jeff Sims to Georgia Tech because of Purdy. And so, and listen, Jeff Sims isn't going to win a Heisman, but he certainly looked capable at times, and makes you wonder, should they ever done that? All those things. It's just remarkable to me, Florida State's season. I mean, from off the field to on the field to where they are as a program. And, I mean, Mike Norvell has to be wondering, should I have stayed at Memphis?
Yeah.
I mean, he has to be. I mean, it's probably not like just now that he's asked that. He's probably asked it like 50 times.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he had to wonder that. So we'll see if I still think he's the right guy in a weird way. I really do. I think he's going to flip it around for them. I think he has shown tremendous patience without, like, just flipping over tables, which I probably would have done by now. Maybe he's doing that behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. It's such a long way to go for Florida State.
No, absolutely. But listen, right now, if you're a Florida State fan, and I feel for you, but you're going through it. And you're suffering because you see what the Florida Gators are doing right now, and they're playing at a very high level. You see what Manny Diaz right now is doing in Miami, another program for, it seems like the past decade was in the dark ages, when all of a sudden they hired their guy and Manny Diaz, and now they're playing at a very high level. And here you have loyal old Florida State, just bringing up the rear as usual. Hopefully they can turn things around, and obviously to turn things around, you got to have the quarterback to do it.
All right, I'm going to get back to the Jags and James Robinson. Do you think would the Jags have been better if they had preseason?
No. I mean, I don't think it really made that much of a difference.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a big preseason guy, too.
I'm a huge preseason guy. Yeah, but I mean, like, what were you trying to get out of it? Like, what do you think having, those 2 preseason games where the starters are going to play, like, what do you think that would do for the team?
Well, here's the – I wonder if this is a curiosity, okay? You have 4 preseason games.
Sure.
Young guys, you have 16 of them. Okay, James Robinson's fine, didn't even need it. Maybe he's even more fresh. But guys like Daniel Thomas, who you didn't insert into the lineup until a couple weeks ago coming off the bye. Devon Hamilton, who didn't play and really probably as many snaps until a few weeks ago when Avery Jones went out. Maybe a guy like Kayvon Chason, who still is trying to find himself, and show us a play or two. I can give you more examples, but you get my point. Those guys that have either started to come around here now as we're in the midseason, could they have come around maybe 4 games ago or 3 games ago? Would you have found something more that you saw when they flashed in those games in preseason to say, hey, we need to play them more. We need to make these – we don't have to wait to a bye to make these kind of moves. So I think that's the curiosity. It looks like in the last couple of weeks especially, guys are coming along. That's a very positive sign. I just wonder if we would know that a little bit more earlier in the year, and maybe in some of these games by now they would have eked out a win or 2 because of it.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could have tailored things a little more going off a preseason game film. But at the end of the day, like, to me, and listen, let's be honest here, after that bye week, the Jaguars did change some things around, especially on defense, right? Now all of a sudden their blitz packages look different. They're getting home a little more. And that's a credit to Todd Wash. But at the same time, though, like, to me, why would you wait till after the bye week to do that, right? Because, I mean, you could see it 3 weeks into the season, 4 weeks into the season. And, yes, sometimes it's just one game is the outlier and it's not who you are. But when we see it over and over and over again, it's the same thing. Well, that's who you are. That's your identity. Then you got to change things. So maybe you could have saw a couple of discrepancies early on in the preseason games. But at the same time, when you're talking about, bringing on the young talent, we got to assume that young talent would have been going against young talent themselves. So when I say that, I mean, like, the 2s going against the 2s or the 2s going against the 3s and not necessarily going against the starters. Well, you still get the reps and experience, but it's a whole different ball game when you're a young guy taking on that first starting team, obviously, of a regular season game.
Yeah, you know what else brings me, James Robinson brings up all these things in my mind. And one of them is, I was thinking of this when Mike Tomlin was saying so many nice things about him. And Mike Tomlin doesn't need to because they've got good backs and they like what they have. But say X team. Do they watch James Robinson? And does that coach or the owner go into their personnel department, scouting department, and be like, what the heck? We had 7 rounds.
Yeah.
We had 11 picks. How couldn't you find this guy? What didn't you like about this guy? Do you think that happens?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it happens a little bit, but at the same time, you can't think like that, right? Like, you can't live in the past, I guess you would say. You can't overanalyze things because what good does it do to think like that?
Yeah, I guess, but it also makes you evaluate your guys who are evaluating.
Sure.
Like, if I'm Shad Khan, I'm looking at other teams and be like, wait, we could have had that guy in the second. We could have had Justin Jefferson instead of Kayvon Chason. We could, why did we? Is this going to work out, guys, or what did you not see?
Yeah, no, I get that, and you can literally do that every single year with this team, it seems like sometimes.
Yeah, especially when you're bad is when you'd ask these questions, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, listen, you can always second-guess yourself, whether it's in the draft or undrafted free agents. I'm sure they have those conversations, but, you know how it works in the coaching realms. You got to point to the things that you did do well.
Yeah, I just hope Shad Khan's doing some of that because that's accountability. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you have to live and die on it for 3 weeks in a row, but it's certainly worth pointing out some of the mistakes that have been made. When we come back, Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. I'm going to tell you who I think might be the best GM in sports history. Maybe the Jags should go get him. He's available next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Hump Day. I'm Jake Mitchell. In the NFL, Deandre Baker gets a second chance after robbery charges in Florida against him were dropped. Baker was cleared when the alleged victim's attorney was charged with extortion. He'll be joining the Kansas City Chiefs after playing on the practice squad to get acclimated to the team. The shortened NBA season rolls on tonight with the NBA draft. The Minnesota Timberwolves had the first pick. Jay Bilas, college basketball analyst for ESPN, says the first pick could go a million different ways.
There are a whole bunch of really talented players further down in the draft that I think we could look back in future years and say that, heck, this sort of the power of this draft wasn't necessarily in the top three. It was throughout the first round with the number of guys that can play important roles on NBA teams.
If you're working from home and want to listen to ESPN, tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 690.
Thursdays at 4 p.m., Action Sports Jax talks Florida State Seminoles sports and is giving away 2 $25 Donato's Pizza gift cards. Special thanks to Donato's Pizza. Every piece is important. And hear every Florida State Seminoles football game here on ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for the Florida State Seminoles.
Boss, hit the gas! What's going on? You were supposed to check to see if that house had anyone home. Now their porch is on fire.
Boss, I didn't do it. The ding-dong doorbell camera just burst into flames and started melting.
Oh, so it's true. Those things are fire hazards.
Yeah, and now we know another big difference between those cheap ding-dong doorbell cameras and a SafeTouch security system.
Well, yeah, with SafeTouch, homeowners don't have to worry about their video cameras getting hacked.
Or employees spying on customers.
Or bursting into flames.
Uh-oh. Fire department's coming, boss. Time to go.
I'm way ahead of you. By the way, your eyebrows are completely gone.
Oh, well. Maybe it's an improvement.
Just so I know you still got your senses, recite the Crooks Are Us golden rule again.
Stay away from SafeTouch houses. Don't worry. It's burned into my brain.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Kellogg's helps local kids get off to a great start every day and is a proud partner of Children's Miracle Network hospitals to get kids like Alexis the care needed for life.
When I was 10, I was hit by a car. I spent a month and a half in the ICU. Children's made sure that I was going to be fine.
Join Kellogg's to provide life-saving equipment, support dogs, and therapies that allow kids to be kids. Give to your local CMN hospital at cmnh.co/Kellogg's. Together, we can change kids' health to change the future.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
We are the entertainment you love and information that shapes your day. We are your lifeline. We are your companion. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
It is the home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18, and make it your home course as well. The golf club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210. It's family-owned and operated. Southampton is a fun course to play, and the golf club at Southampton offers club membership programs starting at just $79. With its elite practice facilities and player-friendly golf course design, it'll be your gateway to a great time with the family or with your buddies. For information on the membership programs, call the golf club at Southampton, 904-287-PLAY. Again, it's 904-287-PLAY.
why.
Guys, after a year like we've had, she deserves to be celebrated. And Diamonds Direct is making it easy with an expanded version of our famous annual pre-holiday store-wide sale with 20% savings. It's happening now through Sunday. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, even engagement rings. Best prices of the year and the last store-wide sale before Christmas. You save 20% and more on virtually everything. Come get that over-the-top gift for the 2020 hero in your life. Now through Sunday only, and only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway, just left of the Hyatt.
Need your carpet and tile looking great for the special holiday party? Give Zero Res a call. Zero Res technicians are cleaning freaks.
ZEROREC. Zero Res.
Hiring can be challenging, but ZipRecruiter makes it fast and easy. We talked to Monica Starks, who needed to hire for her company, GS Group.
As the owner of a construction company, finding the right people is a very difficult task. So I use ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter finds the right people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
With ZipRecruiter, we've hired everyone from accountants to project managers to field scientists.
And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/offer. That's ZipRecruiter.com/offer.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Smart speakers are becoming part of everyday life, so why not use it to listen to the radio? Tell Alexa, Google Home, or any other speaker to play ESPN 690. Give it a shot weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
Yeah, Doug is cleared of concussion protocol, so he's back at practice, so he's full. Laviska will be out today, and then we'll he'll do some work on the side, and then we'll see where he's at tomorrow. So we're still hopeful. We have him as questionable right now.
That is Doug Marrone on Laviska Shenault. Come on, man. I want to see Laviska play. We need a Laviska bingo back.
Sorry, I'm chewing. But yeah, let's get him back.
It's a good time to eat.
It's always a good time to eat, man.
Absolutely. Brett Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos. All right, quick segment here. And I think a lot of people from the responses I'm getting are they know where I'm going.
Sure.
And this is obviously an overstatement. Best GM of all time. Well, the best GMs of all time, if you look them up, I mean, listen, I think Pat Riley's probably in the conversation, right?
Yeah, he's up there.
But NBA-wise, like, how do you beat what Red Auerbach put together?
Yeah.
Over years. And, even all the way into the 80s.
Yeah.
Right? McHale, Parrish, Bird, all that. And any of the great – Jerry West, right?
Sure.
Jerry West has always been linked to that. So in Major League Baseball, you go all the way back to Branch Rickey. You can name your guys. NFL, I think Ernie Accorsi got a ton of love from the Giants, the Giants putting that together. So there have been, listen, every sport, if you have a dynasty, you're going to have your guys. But nobody has done what Theo Epstein did. Theo Epstein broke an 86-year-old drought for the Red Sox and brought in a World Series, and then they won more and more, and it propelled them to a pretty darn good century so far.
Yeah.
He went over to the Cubs, who hadn't won and had the Billy Goat curse, and he won one there. Mm-hmm. And now what people are saying is like, listen, they were already built, especially the Cubs. The Red Sox he helped build, no doubt. The Cubs, they had a lot of talent, and then they got Madden in there as the manager, and they got more talent, and that's fine. The bottom line is it's on his resume that they won a World Series. So he added the right pieces. And keep in mind, when the Red Sox won, it was the move that he made to win wasn't necessarily these big bopping stars. It was trading like Nomar Garciaparra and getting Roberts and guys like Cabrera, middle of the season type of moves to make their defense better up the middle. I mean, he made those kind of moves. So, he's stepping down with the Cubs. Mm-hmm. He's still a very young guy. It's just amazing. I mean, there's nobody in the history that can do what he did. It's unbelievable that he went to the Red Sox and the Cubs and ended up bringing them World Series championships.
No, for sure. So this is what you're getting at? You want to bring Theo Epstein here for the GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars?
No, at first I wanted to just yeah, actually.
Mm. Go ahead.
I first of all wanted to acknowledge the fact that I don't care what you say they didn't win enough in Chicago, some of the things. He is one of the greats of all time in that position. And he's, again, did it very young. He was a young guy when he was doing it with the Red Sox. And, what is he, in his mid-40s now? I mean, it's incredible what that guy delivered. And then I did have this question. Could a GM ever switch sports?
I don't want to find out, Brent.
And be effective?
I don't want to find out, man. Do not want to find out. I don't want to find out in Jacksonville. I'll be honest with you. Don't want to find out.
I was like wrestling with these scenarios, and obviously you're a talent evaluator in baseball. You know the game of baseball. You know how the mapping of baseball works. You know how putting a team go if you're very good. Like Epstein obviously knows what it took to win in those spots, and along with his team, very good. I mean, Theo Epstein might not know what a running back is versus a defensive end, so I understand it. I'm just saying I'm a little curious as if some of the positions in sports, and maybe not that one, could be a little bit more transcendent from sport to sport. You don't think so, though, huh?
I mean, listen, I think with Epstein, I think like Billy Bean's up there in Oakland, like it's a bunch of, I mean, Epstein's an analytical guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think when you use analytics, that can get you by a little more than obviously of the X's and O's of what you know about the sport, hands down. So I get that point. But I think you still have to have a feel for the sport. You still have to relate to it a little more. And obviously, Theo Epstein, I'm not sure what his football knowledge is, but once again, I don't want to find out.
Well, here, our real MVB, Matthew says, and I appreciate this, I guess he was asked this question. He said on Chicago Sports Radio this morning, he has too much respect for those who have built careers in other sports to pivot to another. They asked him about Chicago, and that was his answer, the Bears.
Oh, yeah. Well, they could use one.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's interesting. Again, I mean, if you know how to build a team, could that potentially trump knowing if a guy's better running a 4-3-2 at this position or a 4-3-7? I mean, I don't know. Probably not. And that would be probably disrespectful to a lot of folks that have spent their lives evaluating football players. I get it. Just, I tell you what, at a place that's lost a long time, if I'm Shad Khan, I wouldn't mind having dinner with Theo Epstein. And you know what? Shad's got a place in Chicago. Go have dinner with Theo Epstein and say, how the hell did you do it? I mean, you could at least ask.
Sure.
I'm not saying come over here and do it with us, but you could ask, how'd you do it?
Yeah. I guess, man. Well, like I said, I just don't want to find out.
I know.
Yeah.
Wait, listen, when you're the Jags, you can't think that much outside the box.
No.
But I thought, hey, Theo Epstein and Urban Meyer together. Why not?
Yeah, I hear you.
Speaking of Urban Meyer, he said something this weekend, and you're going to have fun with this one coming up next, Austin Lane. It's on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
When it comes to buying your next ride, everybody wants to save big. Well, you can with my friends at Arlington Toyota. Right now, they're having their 50% off pre-owned event. You heard right. You can save thousands when you pay up to 50% less MSRP on pre-owned at Arlington. And Arlington's got over 400 vehicles ready for you to choose from. You want to save on a Corolla? Get to Arlington where you can buy a pre-owned 2020 Corolla LE for just $11,991. And everybody loves Camrys. And with up to 50% less, you can get a pre-owned 2020 Camry SE from just $17,990. Now, if you love the RAV4, then get one and save big at Arlington, where a pre-owned 2020 RAV4 XLE can be yours from just $19,991. Leave it to the #1 volume Toyota dealer in Northeast Florida to also give you a 30-day exchange policy with your purchase. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. It's the 50% off pre-owned event happening right now at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit Arlington Toyota/50off for full offer details.
For more than 25 years, the potential for health improvement is seen with each patient that walks through our doors. Healthcare decisions don't have to be confusing. Make Island Doctors your medical practice.
My husband and I have been coming to Island Doctors for approximately 10 years, and we have been very happy with them, and we trust them.
Call us today and schedule a tour of one of our locations near you and take a look at our Best Wellness program, and welcome home.
Call 1-877-434-4676 or visit islanddoctors.com.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, we've been celebrating 10 years in business. Over the years, we've constructed thousands of projects in the Northeast Florida region. From commercial to residential, we handle each project with the respect and care it deserves. We look forward to speaking with you about your next construction project. Find out more at lloydsconstruction.net.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade for Phil Aiken Home Team Keller Williams Realty. I'm talking with Greg and Gary about their recent home sale. Why did you call Phil Aiken?
We called Phil Aiken because we had heard that his team will sell your house quickly and for more money than any of the other realtors in town.
Tell us what happened.
Phil Aiken and his A-team, they will make the process very easy. Sold in 4 days and got over asking price.
Well, that's great. So how did you think they were able to sell it so fast?
Because Phil has the buyers and they have the team that can get the job done quickly and stress-free.
What would you tell a friend who is looking for a real estate agent to sell their home?
Would I recommend Phil Aiken and the A-team? Absolutely.
Well, the results speak for themselves, right? Phil Aiken and his team have the systems and will even guarantee to sell your home in writing or buy it himself.
Yes, we got better results than we expected.
Thanks, Gary. Friends, hire the agent with the buyers looking to buy a home right now. Call Phil Aiken. Call 500-PHIL. That's 500-PHIL, or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
Nathan from Gordon Chevy in Orange Park here with some great news for all the veterans. The Chevy Military Discount, that's a fixed discounted price on all new Chevys, is now available for every active retired and now eligible military veteran. It's the same price the Chevy suppliers get, no negotiation needed, just a great deal up front. It can't be any easier. Come pick out a new Chevy today and get a deal. Gordon Chevy on the money saving end of Blanding in Orange Park or GordonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
If you're driving less, you could be saving 50%. With pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate, you can have control over your auto insurance costs by only paying for the miles you drive. Drive less, save 50% with Allstate. You've never been in better hands. Visit Allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Pricing varies based on how you buy driving behaviors and includes a daily rate. Not applicable in California. Based on annual premium paid by Allstate Standard Auto customers versus Allstate pay-per-mile customers who drive an average of 4,000 miles a year. Savings vary subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates. Copyright 2020 Allstate Insurance Company.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dealing with battery problems? We can help you out and get you ready for the colder weather ahead. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a free charge, we can help with that too. And if it's time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Masters didn't live up to the expectations. DeChambeau wasn't very good. I'm very angry with him.
Who had Bernard Longer being better than Tiger and DeChambeau?
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Did you have Bernard Longer being better than DeChambeau and Tiger?
At one point, he was out-driving DeChambeau.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN Plus.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Not a bad player in the NFL. They're NFL players. Same with the coach. You can't say, well, he's a bad coach. Now, maybe they're not coaching well, or maybe the player's not playing well, but that's where I always say, lift under the hood. Never make excuses. When I was a coach, I would never let one of my coaches say he's a bad player. I'd warn him, I'd say that again, you probably have to leave, because that's just, you're making excuses.
That's Urban Meyer over the weekend. You know, he's part of Fox's coverage.
Yep.
What are you laughing about?
Nothing. Make some good points.
I think you're going to like this. I thought it was really good. Somebody tweeted this out, so the audio, bear with us, okay? The audio was probably better. We couldn't find it on the actual broadcast, but somebody tweeted it, and I saw it, and I was like, you know what? That's a really interesting take, and it's a bit longer of a take than just that. So you got to listen in. Take notes, Austin.
Okay.
And then I want to ask you, because here's what I'm going to get at with this story a little bit, all right? Because, I feel like with the Jags, now we've become like investigative journalists. In sports, we cover things, right? We chronicle, we tell stories. Once in a while, we'll do a feature on somebody.
Yeah.
In our business. We don't usually have to do too much on the investigative side, especially from the local level. But, yeah, there are investigative stories, too, that happen in sports, certainly. I mean, look, Robinson Cano just got dinged again for he's going to miss the entire 21 season. How about that?
Not a good look for him. Nope.
So that stuff has happened. And so you do have this element. But the reason I say it in this locally for the Jags, this isn't an investigation of what they've done wrong from a crooked kind of standpoint, anything like that. This is what they've done wrong for the last 12 years to not get it right.
Sure. We essentially went from doing 60 minutes, feel-good stories on 60 Minutes, and now we're like the New York Times, and we're knocking down doors, and we're bringing spotlights to crevices that shouldn't have spotlights on, and we're shutting stuff down. But
crevices, very
crevices.
Good.
That's a word.
So part of my investigation here this year,
okay.
Now that the Sundays don't matter much anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
The investigation to me is, how do you flip it? How do you make it right? Well, you could get lucky and get the quarterback, and that could be in play. That's an obvious one. I get that. But there's this culture part that you bring up a lot that we're seeing with a team that comes in here this week with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's like, how do you build that? The college guy intrigues me because he's a culture builder. That's what he does.
Yeah.
A college guy goes to a place, and that's what Dabble Swinney did. That's what Dan Mullen now has done in the last few years. That's what Nick Saban did. That's what that's what Urban Meyer's done multiple times. So this isn't hey, go get the college guy. This isn't, hey, get Urban Meyer here. But the culture part of this is, well, listen, it's easy if I wanted to go get a job at Baltimore or in Pittsburgh or even New England. Yeah. The winning culture is already there. I have to continue it. I have to keep the standard high. Well, that's a heck of a lot easier than going to a place like some of these guys, McDermott in Buffalo, John Gruden in Oakland.
Yeah.
Vrabel's doing now in Tennessee. Maybe McVay's doing with the Rams. Hell of a lot of losing there, folks, for a long time. It's not just Jacksonville that's been that. But this is going to be the challenge of somebody that goes in and tries to fix the New York Jets. This is going to be the challenge in the NBA of somebody that goes in and tries to fix the New York Knicks. This is the challenge here in Jacksonville. How do you create that winning culture, standard, all those things? And I can't imagine it's easier. It would have been done by now. And so this is kind of the moral of this part of the story. And Urban Meyer said something over the weekend, said a few things. And so listen up. And I thought it was pretty interesting. Here he is.
Not a bad player in the NFL. They're NFL players. Same with the coach. You can't say, well, he's a bad coach. Now, maybe they're not coaching well, or maybe the player's not playing well, but that's where I always say, lift under the hood. Never make excuse. When I was a coach, I would never let one of my coaches say he's a bad player. I'd warn them, say that again, you probably have to leave, because that's just, you're making excuses. Now, dig deep and find out why. Every time I've had a team struggle, every time, it's fallen in one of three categories. Number one, there's some trust issue. The players don't trust the coach don't trust the players, or awful when the players don't trust each other. Number two, really think about it, it's called a dysfunctional work environment, Reggie, and that's that, where the expectations are very high, but we don't work hard.
I've been there before, Coach.
And the coach has to be real clear with his team and say, wait a minute, that's going to lead to frustration, anger, disappointment, because we want to win a championship. I got news, guys, we're not working hard. So stop with the expectations. If your work ethic must exceed or equate your expectations, that's a good environment. And the last one is real obvious. You got a selfish team, man. You got problems on your team. Football is an unselfish sport. That means you got to do the nasty. That means I'm a running back. I got to go protect my quarterback.
Yeah.
That you don't always get to carry the ball. Sometimes you have to run down and kick off 22 miles an hour and throw yourself into someone coming 15 miles an hour the other way. That's not fun. Why would you do that? Because you love your team and your teammates. So when you hear LSU, Penn State, Wolverine struggling, stop with the bad players. I get sick of hearing that. It's not the players. I don't think it's coaches. But there's something wrong. Lift the hood, find out one of those three things is usually the reason.
So there's Urban Meyer, right? And I loved it. I just thought it was really well done by him. And this is a guy who's been through it. He's had a lot of success, and so he knows what success looks like.
Yeah.
He's also had some failures along the way. Not a lot of them, but he probably knows when it's not up to the standard, right? Even if you on the outside might not know, he knows, okay, this isn't up to the standard. He can sniff that out, even if he doesn't want to share it publicly. What's really interesting, and it just hit me as he's saying that, and this isn't my claim to say I'm some genius or not, but I do have this I say this a lot, and I say it to the kids a lot. I say it to anybody who listens a lot. I think that there's three things that are really important, and that is you can outwork anybody. The other one is you can communicate. We talked about communication yesterday on the show, and you can't get great at communicating. Everybody's bad at it. And I think the last one is details. Well, if you listen to kind of what Urban just said there, he mentioned the work, right? You have to be able to work up to the standard that you're trying to live up to the expectation. He mentioned communication, the trust, something's off. And he mentioned the dirty work, which to me is the devil's in the details, right? That's the dirty work that you don't want to do. So it's kind of interesting, that's kind of a three things that I say. I'm spinning it to kind of what he said a little bit. And it's just interesting at that level in the world of sports that it can kind of correlate to some degree depending on your interpretation. And again, you don't have to like Urban Meyer. This isn't about Urban Meyer, get him to Jacksonville, all that stuff. I just think this is a guy that's been successful and he knows what it looks like and knows how to do it. And if you take those few things that the Jaguars and relate it to the Jags, well, how much do we talk about lack of communication, Austin, all the time over the last few years? How much what we don't know is what the standard is. You know, one thing that Tom Coughlin did a great job of when he came in here, he said, we want to win lunch. You knew what the standard was. We're going to win every day. There's grit on the wall. There's win on the wall. There's the AFC South standings on the wall. They raised the standard to win now. Let's not wait and work to win. Let's win now. Let's win every day. And so he raised the standard, and then you've got to meet that standard all the time. And then the dirty work part, who knows? I mean, I don't have a good feel for that in the Jags organization. Here's what I think. I think they went up to Green Bay and did some of that dirty work. If you take one Sunday, because they played physical, it looked different, and they did some of that dirty work to try to compete and beat the Green Bay Packers, who are a much better football team. So I think this does relate in some way, shape, or form to the Jacksonville Jaguars and how they can turn it around and create this culture that you do see in New England and Pittsburgh and Green Bay and other places, that this is just instilled when you walk through the door. And how do you get a guy that's going to do that? And one more thing, Austin, who looks under the hood? And so it's Shad Khan that has to look under the hood, I would assume, this offseason and find the guy that will do those few things to set the new standard in Jacksonville.
Yeah, so you asked the question, obviously, how can the Jaguars change it? How can they turn things around, build that culture up like you see in Pittsburgh and New England, and not only have that for a year like of 2017, but have that for an extended period of time? And I like what Urban Meyer said. He made a lot of great points, and I wholeheartedly agree with all those points. I mean, there's a reason why that guy won so much, and he kind of echoed those things right there. I agree with him wholeheartedly. But with that being said, what he broke down, that is the blueprint of any great college team. And I agree with him there. But I also think that, because I was in those college locker rooms, I think that the culture in college and the culture in the NFL, it's night and day. It's two different things completely. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, there's still some, there's some things in common, obviously. But when we're talking about college, like being a head coach, yes, you have to instill the traditions and the culture and all that stuff. But let's be honest. You're also kind of a babysitter, right? You got to tell your players, you got to go to class here. You got study hall here. You got to do things a certain way here. You got to act a certain way here. I have to talk to your teachers, yada, yada, yada. So it's a lot more than just really coaching football. It's almost being like a chaperone. It's almost being a babysitter, right? Like I was literally a child back in 2006 when I went to Murray State, man. I had so much to learn about being a man and being an adult. I was a toddler at that time, right? And then thankfully, I had some great coaches who instilled great values, and I learned and I grew, not only as a football player, but also a man. So then when we fast forward to the NFL now, you're dealing with a bunch of guys who come from all walks of life, just kind of like in college, but now it's not so much as chaperoning. It's dealing with a bunch of grown-ass men, and that's different. So to answer your question, and this is kind of a long way around it, but to answer your question of how do you change a culture, to me it comes down to a few things. Number one, it's got to come down to you have to have the goal in mind, and that comes with communication once again. We've been echoing communication now, it seems like, for the past 2 years on the show. It should really be called ESPN 690 communication, because that's all we ever talk about on the show.
But communication is trust, right? That falls into that category.
Exactly. But I'm saying if you're a head coach, you have to define what the goal is, what the identity is going to be, right? Like we talked about Mike Vrabel before. We talked about Mike Tomlin, obviously, Bill Belichick, like Pete Carroll. They've defined what they're trying to do. Now, the only difference, because keep in mind, and listen, some of the best coaches I ever played for instance, like an Andy Reid was never hands-on his football teams. All right, he was never the guy that was going to chew you out. He was a fun-loving guy. Like, he made it fun to be around him. Like, there's some coaches where you dread, like, I had a bad game or I had a bad practice or, we had a bad loss. Like, you don't want to be around that coach. Andy Reid never portrayed that. Like, you always want to be around that guy because he was like everybody else, and you respected him for that. So this is what I'm trying to say. Whether you're kind of like that hard-ass coach like a Bill Belichick or you're more of a player's coach like a Pete Carroll and Andy Reid, it doesn't really matter. The point is you have to bring the guys in to echo what you're trying to do, right? Obviously with Andy Reid, he's a very offensive-oriented type of guy. So who does Andy Reid always go after in the draft? A certain type of player, a speedy guy, a dynamic player like Travis Kelce, a Patrick Mahomes, a Mecole Hardman. But Andy Reid has his type of guy that he brings in that's going to fit his system. Just like Mike Tomlin has his kind of guy that he brings in that's going to fit their system. Now, whether that's in the draft, undrafted, and undrafted free agency, or whether that's in, a free agent signing, they have their type of guys that they bring in that fit that brand. Right now, Jacksonville, they do not have that. All right, Jacksonville, they don't have a brand of football where you can say, all right, let's see this free agent list. Oh, we have to go after him because this guy can play Jaguars football. When is the last time we had a conversation about let's go after a guy that can play Jaguars football?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Brent. Let's be honest here. Yeah.
Hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened. So that, to me, is what you have to do as an organization. And if you're Shad Khan and you're trying to check underneath that hood, like you so eloquently put it, you got to find out who you are and then bring those guys in. They're going to echo who you are. And in doing so, it's going to trickle down. And that's how you build the culture.
The good thing here is I feel like they've got, because they started over, this might be one of the benefits of starting over. Like, they have guys that are supposedly these buy-in guys, right? That's what they drafted.
Sure.
Good character, lunch pail guys, overachieving maybe to a degree, going to work. They don't have the drama. And so when you're going to start over, to not have some drama is probably an important thing. It might be the positive of, all the cleaning up the entire situation with Jan and Ramsey and everything else. In the long term, I don't know if it's positive because those are great players most likely.
Yeah.
But you get my point. If you're going to start it over, at least you don't have to deal with, okay, how's Jalen feeling today? Mm-hmm. What's he going to come in and act like today? What's he going to ask for today? You don't have to do that. And so they've got at least some guys in there that they feel like are core players to lay a foundation. So I think they're in a good place, but you're right about that. And I'm gonna liken it to the quarterback situation real quick. Because you got me thinking, and if you're going to set an identity and you're going to get this buy-in, I'll give you 3 quarterbacks, 2 good examples and 1 bad.
Okay.
Russell Wilson, who, by the way, not enough people knew about, but whatever. The way it's worked out, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. And Baker Mayfield. And we don't know if Baker Mayfield's the guy yet in Cleveland. He's doing some good, maybe not enough good, but whatever. For now, he's the guy.
Sure.
I don't think when you look at this next crop of quarterbacks, you can bring in the Baker Mayfield type to this situation. Because I don't think that he's that guy that's going to be all bought in, help build the culture. Everybody follows, because the next guy you bring in at that QB position has to be the guy that becomes your identity, at least in the immediate.
Sure.
And then you can shape your identity, but you shape it around that guy. I don't know if I want to shape an identity around Baker Mayfield, just being honest.
Yeah.
I can shape my identity around Russell Wilson. I can shape my identity around Patrick Mahomes. And by the way, this has nothing to do with on-the-field stuff. This is off-the-field stuff. I feel like Baker Mayfield in front of a microphone, I'm not sure I trust him too much. Baker Mayfield want to do so many commercials more than yeah, he probably does want to go to work, and I know he works hard, but he still wants to do all those commercials. Patrick Mahomes is a guy that says, hey, let's make sure when I sign this record-breaking contract that we make sure we get all these guys signed because I don't want to play here unless those guys are here too.
Yeah.
You know, yep. I mean, again, this is I don't know all these guys at all. I'm just saying from what we've seen, the bottom line is you have to get the right guy in that place. So let's just hope, fingers crossed, if they are going to get Justin Fields, he's the right guy to be able to lead this change, this culture change that everybody can follow because he is the culture. Him and the head coach that come in here are the new culture of the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021 and probably for 2022 and 3. And then everybody else has to kind of get in line with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I agree with you in terms of would you bring a Baker Mayfield in this, try to start anew, build the foundation? Probably not. But at the same time, if Baker Mayfield had Patrick Mahomes' arm and his awareness and his playmaking ability, then I'm going to say absolutely you bring Baker Mayfield in. Because at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is what do they bring to you on the field? Now, I get it, all the commercials and things like that. That's extra. That's cannon fodder, and I understand that. But to be fair, Baker Mayfield on the field, he's been up and he's been down, right? So you're a little leery to build the team around him. You know, Brent, like you mentioned, like the quarterback position, it's the most important part. And obviously this year for the Jaguars, an up-and-coming draft, like, yeah, they're probably going to get a decent guy at least, right? Whether that's Justin Fields, somehow Trevor Lawrence, or somebody in the latter. But, yeah, they're going to get somebody to build the team around. To me, though, once again, it all comes down to the coach that you bring in, the coordinator that you bring in. It has to have the direct reflection of the player that you pick, okay? And once again, and I've said this before, I would rather have Trey Lance if the coach that the Jaguars bring in, offensive coordinator that they bring in, I mean, who knows, maybe it's going to be Gruden and stuff, but whoever it is, they say, you know what, Trey Lance is our guy. Like, he does what we want to do. If that's the case, then so be it. Then go after Trey Lance. I'm not going to ask two questions about it, and we'll see what happens. No, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying that's what I want. I want a coordinator and a head coach to go after their guy, to slam their fists on the table and say, we need to bring this guy in here to turn things around, to build a foundation, and it's this spot. Because to me right now, like, for instance, like Jameis Winston, prime example. Jameis Winston could win anywhere that he wanted to. You know where he went to? He went to New Orleans on, what, $1.8 million of a deal because he wanted to sit behind Drew Brees and learn from Sean Payton. He could win anywhere. But he went to the Saints. You know why? Because he wanted to go to that kind of culture. Le'Veon Bell could have signed anywhere that he wanted to and been a starter more than likely in half the teams. But you know where he went? He went to the Kansas City Chiefs, who just drafted a first-round running back. But you know why he went there and took a pay cut? Because it's fun to play there. He could have went to the Ravens. He could have went to the Seahawks of all teams. But you know what? He went to the Chiefs because he likes Andy Reid and he likes playing that kind of system. And that's what the Jaguars need to do. They need to have a system where it's fun to play in. When we were talking about free agents wanting to take a pay cut and come here because you know what? I can relate to the system. I can have fun in it, and we can get some work done, and we can go places that we never imagined before.
Yeah, it's a good call, you know, and I get it. And I don't really know how to, like, I feel like almost anybody right now could take Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and be successful with them. But I understand what you're saying. There might be one, like, if you take Arthur Smith and what he's done with Tannehill,
yeah,
maybe that isn't the greatest fit for a guy like Justin Fields. If you look at what the Buffalo Dabo is doing, is not Dabo, guy up in Buffalo, what he's doing with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
That might.
Are you talking about Sean McDermott?
No, but the offensive coordinator.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I got you.
I think it's Dabo.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Oh, why am I messing it up? But yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I got you.
But I feel like Josh Allen might fit the skill set of Justin Fields a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm right in that. I'm just using that as an example. Like, that might be the difference. Like, if you're picking from some of these coordinators, which one will fit better with the other guy? Mm-hmm. Who knows? You know. So I get what you're saying there. How different, by the way, are Lawrence and Fields, do you think, style-wise?
Style-wise, yeah. I mean, listen, I think they're pretty comparable, actually.
Because Lawrence can run now.
Yeah, well, and so can Fields, obviously, right?
Yeah,
I mean, listen, like, I think they're going to throw first and run second if they have to.
Yeah, yeah.
But they can definitely keep a defense honest, so I think they're pretty comparable.
Yeah. All By the way, next time I throw BP to Ty, I'm hitting him a couple of times because he made me watch the Bills-Arizona game last night, the replay on NFL Network.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was terrible.
Oh, I bet, man. Hey, be sure to tune in Thursday night. Check your local listings. We got Cardinals-Seahawks, the grudge match.
Go Russell Wilson.
What do you mean? That's going to be a good game. You're not excited for that?
Hey, do we have like this misery game coming up? It's a great segue, actually. I think so. Kuz is going to play the game.
That's unforgivable what you just said, but okay.
It's next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Fair to partly cloudy and cool tonight. Breezy this evening as temperatures drop into the 40s inland, but hold to near 60 at the beaches. And your Thursday will be partly cloudy. A brief shower or two possible with highs in the upper 60s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. It's Beard's Diamonds 40th anniversary sale. Save up to 40% off store-wide till November 30th.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence. Or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
There's no such thing as a $3 ribeye. If you ain't paying a realistic price, you're just paying to get pitched or scammed. Usually to get pitched for a scam. It's the same for AC tune-ups. Actual maintenance, where the tech deep cleans your outdoor coils, checks and vacuums your blowers, measures airflow, clears out your drain line, and ensures the health and safety of your electrical components, all that takes 90 minutes of trained expertise. So when some turd bucket AC company advertises a $59 tune-up, that ain't a proper tune-up. It's a sales pitch for repairs you probably don't need. Sure, they'll do a 20-minute inspection for repairs to pitch, but the actual maintenance, not happening. At Griffin Service, we do a full 90 minutes of system revitalizing care, cleaning, and recalibration. It's why we call it a Florida-rated refresh. And yeah, it's $139, but you'll be getting what you paid for. Honest maintenance. But only if you call
GriffinService.com.
License number 1250697.
After the year we've had, Diamonds Direct thinks she deserves something really special. So our annual pre-holiday store-wide sale is bigger and better and longer than ever. All this week you get an extra 20% savings on virtually everything. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, and expanded selection from all our top designers. You save 20% and more. Special financing too. It's happening now through Sunday. The last store-wide sale before Christmas with the best prices all year. Now through Sunday at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway, just left of the Hyatt.
No matter what you're driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of Fields Auto Group's dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group stores in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit FieldsAuto.com.
Appliances may work on your schedule, but they quit on theirs. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we'll get your appliances back up and running in no time at all. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have repaired more than 100,000 appliances over the past 35 years, servicing Jacksonville to St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee. When your appliances quit, we're ready to get started. For quality repair at a price that's fair, visit AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Do you know that there are 7 steps that can help to ensure a lifetime of success for your child or grandchild, even though they may have trouble controlling their anger or lack of focus or respect for others? Karate America takes pride in the tens of thousands of children they've impacted. Imagine your child or grandchild showing and earning respect, setting and achieving goals, and making good grades. Visit karateamerica.info to see if Karate America's leadership program is a good fit for your child.
Worthless warranties, slimy salespeople, shady subcontractors. It's no wonder people don't trust most roofing companies. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting LLC, we didn't trust them either. That's why we started our own roofing company. With more than 25 years of experience, we offer industry-leading warranties, simple, fair financing, and no subcontractors. Residential, commercial, even multifamily properties. At All Pro Roofing and Consulting, we've got you covered. Learn more at allproroofingllc.com.
Are you ready for it? Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Toyotathon is on. Yes, there's only one sale big enough to be called Toyotathon, and it's going on right now at Arlington Toyota. You can score amazing Toyotathon lease deals that'll put that new Toyota in your driveway today. So if you've been eyeing a sporty new 2021 Corolla LE, don't just eye it, drive it, and get a low Toyotathon lease for just $119 a month at Arlington. Or maybe it's a 2021 RAV4. Maybe that's your style. You're going to save on that too, because right now at Arlington, you can lease a new 2021 RAV4 for just $204 a month. Get to Arlington for Toyotathon savings today, where you can lease a new 2020 Camry for as low as $162 a month. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind, thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Toyotathon is on, so don't wait. Shop safely in person at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Toyotathon for full offer details.
What can you get done in 10 minutes? Run a mile? Maybe. Find a date online for this Friday? Easy. What about listing your home for sale? In 10 minutes? Can't be possible. With the new Instant List tool from Rex, it is. Rex Instant List allows you to value and list your home with an agent in as little as 10 minutes. With the real estate market getting hotter, time is money. Let's get started. Visit sellwithrex.com. Since 2015, Rex has provided sellers with over $23 million in savings and absolutely no sacrifice on service. Have 10 minutes to spare? Visit sellwithrex.com to get started. Or speak to a Rex agent at 833-739-4663. 833-739-4663. That's 833-739-4663.
License number, Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
Boss, have you heard the latest about the ding-dong doorbell cameras?
What, more employees spying on customers?
Nope.
Hackers again?
No, boss, this time they had to recall over 350,000 video doorbells.
Recall? What happened?
A bunch of them caught fire.
Whoa, unbelievable. It's one thing after another with them.
Yeah. Notice you never heard that with Safe Touch's video cameras?
Well, now you're just comparing a Bentley with a bumper car.
Exactly. I just don't understand why any homeowner wouldn't go with Safe Touch.
Yeah, their video monitoring's virtually hack-proof. Oh, and here's a bonus. Safe Touch cameras don't burst into flames.
No kidding.
It's just a good thing not everyone knows about Safe Touch, because we gotta stick to the Crooks R Us golden rule. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah, don't gotta tell me twice.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Guys, after a year like we've had, she deserves to be celebrated. And Diamonds Direct is making it easy with an expanded version of our famous annual pre-holiday store-wide sale with 20% savings. It's happening now through Sunday. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, even engagement rings. Best prices of the year and the last store-wide sale before Christmas. You save 20% and more on virtually everything. Come get that over-the-top gift for the 2020 hero in your life. Now through Sunday only, and only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway, just left of the Hyatt.
Injuries on the job can cause you to lose control. I'm Glenn Levine from the law offices of Anajar & Levine. Money is not coming in and your medical bills are piling up. Our legal team is here to help. We can help you file all your workers' compensation claims to make sure you get the proper benefits you're entitled to. If you've been injured on the job, call the law offices of Anajar & Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, we've been celebrating 10 years in business. Over the years, we've constructed thousands of projects in the Northeast Florida region. For commercial to residential, we handle each project with the respect and care it deserves. We look forward to speaking with you about your next construction project. Find out more at lloydsconstruction.net.
Vote for this week's ESPN 690 High School Athlete of the Week, presented by Honda of the Avenues. Each week, an athlete with the most votes will be announced on Action Sports Jax. To vote or nominate your favorite student athlete, go to ESPN690.com or check us out on ESPN 690's Facebook page.
Brent Martineau.
This is an email. Why is WWE Wrestling not being shown on Friday night?
Austin Lane.
Thank you very much. Read it right now. Read it right now. This
I
could be
just
for me.
did. Why is WWE? That's it. I mean, that's
it?
why I thought. I don't know. I mean, Roman's only 5. I don't know how many sentences he can make.
Yeah,
Smart kid.
Somebody might have proofread it for him.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Bro, I fought depression in New York, bro, and I'm manning up.
Really?
I fought depression, bro.
Wow.
Oh, but there was so many. There's been so many times to where I've came home after a loss, a tough loss, and just sat in my room, bro, in the dark. No phone, no TV, and Pops would walk in and be like, "Hey, man, you all right?"
That's Jamal Adams.
Jeez.
Talking about his time with the Jets.
That's why you come to Jacksonville. Go to the beach bars. You'd be all right.
And a lot of Seattle fans might be depressed after watching Jamal Adams try to tackle last week.
Ouch.
Did you see that?
I did.
Business decision, huh?
A little bit. Yeah, supposed to be turning that whole defense around. Made a business decision. I get it.
That was odd.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work in the film room?
I mean, it's never a good conversation. It's not, like, listen, there's nothing worse than when you make, quote-unquote, a business decision and then it gets brought to light in the film room in front of all your peers. Like, that's it's a very uneasy feeling.
Like, he's a star, right?
Correct.
But does he get called out?
Not like some, like, rookie would.
Yeah. I mean, that was bad. Like, I don't know. I mean, you can lose. I got to believe, like, the underbelly of that is you lose a little respect. Now, he's such a good player. I think that he can make it back up. And you forgive
I mean,
and forget,
listen,
but
he's going to be fine there. Like, they might have a little laugh about it. It probably won't be that serious, and then they're going to move on. Like, once again, like, if you're a vet and you've earned that much, you've earned your stripes, which he has.
Yeah, but he hasn't with them, you know? I mean, it's his new team. He's been there for 6 weeks. And I don't know. I just feel like, I just don't feel like a Ravens player is doing that. I don't feel like a Steelers player is doing that. And maybe they are, and we're just not seeing it, but that was bad. I thought that was really bad. And that's a bad defense to begin with. And maybe one of your better players is faking tackling.
Yeah, no, for sure. But at the same time, like, who in that defense is going to step up and say you can't do that? Because once again, the defense is so garbage right now. It's like, well, yeah.
I got to believe I know Pete Carroll's a player's coach. And it's probably a decent conversation, but I guarantee you there was a conversation this week.
Sure there was.
I would hope so, at least.
Yeah.
All right, Brent Martin, Austin Lane. We're going to play a little game. A little misery meter. Thanks for helping us get into it, Jamal Adams. Kuz, what you got? You come up with this idea, and I'm eager to see. This is either, this is what happens. We try a lot of things on the show. Some of them are epic fails. Some of them we think work, and we don't really care if anybody else thinks they work.
Well, if this one's miserable, that kind of goes par with the name, so we are in a win-win situation.
Well, let's just be honest, man. I mean, Kuz.
Stole this.
We probably stole
you
it.
absolutely stole this.
Which could be good.
It's the same name.
But it's also your idea, and so the expectation in that high.
Yeah.
Don't act like we didn't steal this. It's the exact same name.
Is it the exact same name?
Well, it's pretty close.
Misery Meter is pretty much the same name as Misery Meter the show.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? That's the name of the show?
Well, that's the name of the show, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, they have a Misery Meter in the show, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, all good things are stolen. Let's go.
I just want to get to the topics, man. That's all I want to do.
All right, yeah. So the idea is I'm going to give you the
pictures.
I'm going to give you the
like
topic.
American Idol hasn't been stolen. I mean, they just named it something different. Come on.
Right. So I'm going to give you the topic, and you're going to have to rank where on a scale of misery you think these topics would land.
Okay, are they 1 to 5?
Let's do 1 to 10.
Let's do Brent Martineau's fashion sense to my fashion sense. And then Kuz, you're in the middle.
Hey, this is for you today. How do you like this?
Hang on, I got to turn on the camera here. My bad. Sorry.
Is that a short sleeve hoodie?
Oh,
Short
dang.
sleeve hoodie, man.
Now,
You
did
gotta
you
look
try-
at the camera once in a while.
Look, I care. Come on. What logo is that? That's cool. I like that.
It's the old Creekside Knights, I got support.
Nice. So now, do your kids go there? Like, why do you have the Creekside?
That's where they go. Yeah.
Nice, man. I'll be honest. Creekside. It's a nice looking hoodie.
By the way, I'm
They're in.
thinking, how about Action Sports Jack's logo right here?
Okay.
Right?
Where?
Or ESPN
where's here?
690 or something?
I mean, I'm watching the camera, but there's a
Like
delay.
right in his chest, like right where the logo
Where
is.
the
Yeah.
logo
I got
is.
you.
I got the logo. Just so we'll take this logo off. We'll make a hoodie like this.
Yep.
It's kind of like this style makes me think of you.
Well, no, for sure. But the question is, Brent, do you cut the sleeves off or not, though? I mean, listen, I'm not mad at the T-shirt right there. That's
I'm not.
cool.
I mean, you would cut it off a little bit more, right?
I'd cut it off, man, because I have to have that street tough look like I'm rocking now.
I've been
looking like a
flexing
street
the whole
tough.
show. My arm's like in pain.
And I've been sweating the whole show, rocking a vest and a sweatshirt. Unheard of for me.
All right, go ahead, Coos. Come on, before we run out of time, let's do this.
Oh, okay, like 12 minutes. We're fine.
Okay, so the first topic will be from the standpoint of FSU fans or players seeing that Trevor Lawrence has been cleared to play.
I'll go first here.
Go ahead, Brent.
I say on the misery meter, that's actually a 4. And the reason I say is if you do go to the game in Tallahassee, or if you're a Knowles fan, at least you'll get to see a good quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I was. Wait, so it's 4? It's out of 5, right?
No, out of 10.
10 out of 10.
So out of 10. Okay. Oh yeah. So I mean, that's probably like a 2 or 3. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 2 because let's be honest. If you're a Florida State fan, you got nothing to cheer about. So you might as well say, you know what? I saw Trevor Lawrence play in a game, the first overall pick. Yeah, I'm sure they're actually pretty pumped on it. I'm pumped on it.
Okay.
I'm glad he's back.
Yeah. Number 2 is having your comment, I can't watch basketball, go viral right before you might potentially be drafted number 1 in the NBA. Where on the misery meter is that?
Who said that?
Anthony Edwards.
He said, I can't watch basketball?
Yeah, back in the day. It wasn't like he said it like last week. It was back in high school, apparently, when he played football. He said he can't watch basketball.
Wow. How about that? A misery meter because you're going to have to deal with that question and because everything gets thrown back in your face, whether you said it yesterday or 10 years ago now. I'm going to put that at about a 7.5.
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, to me, I need the context of that. Like, you can't watch basketball because today's game is so soft. If that's the case, and I'm a GM, I want that kid on my team. So go ahead and give me a 4 on the misery meter.
And here's the deal, Austin, though. Like, like when he gets drafted, people will ask him about it. When he, like 3 years from now, when he has, like, misses a shot at the buzzer, he's like, don't worry, you hate watching basketball anyway. You won't have to watch that. Like, it never leaves you.
Yeah, I guess it's going to follow him a little bit, right? But once again, like if you say, hey, I was referring to the guys that are flopping on the ground and things like that, then you can use it to your advantage.
That could be the number 1 pick, and he might be the number 1 pick. He doesn't have to impress GMs anymore.
It's a good point. Well, he has to impress the fan base, so I don't know. I don't think it's that big a deal. It's going to follow him around, but there's always ways around that one. Trust me.
Right.
As someone who's gotten in trouble a lot for what he said, there's always ways around things where you can make it sound a lot better.
All right, Kuz.
All right, next one. Having your assistant coach go viral for having a party during his time with the Stanley Cup where he was letting many people, quote unquote, drink from the Stanley Cup during a pandemic.
Screw it.
It's a 1.
2.
Yeah, thank you, Brent.
I
Go
mean,
ahead. Thank you.
Whatever.
Come
Listen,
on.
I feel for your pandemic people, but I just won the damn Stanley Cup, and I'm drinking out of it, and you can too.
You better believe it. Thank you very much, Brent. Like, listen, that's just tradition. I understand right now we're in a pandemic, yada, 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 all that stuff, but it's the Stanley Cup, okay? And listen, I've told this story before. My cousin was in Wapaka when the Wings won it, and they had the Stanley Cup there, and he wanted to drink out of it, and he got thrown out of the party because it was like an exclusive golf club event. And let's be honest, the Lanes, we don't hang out at golf clubs. And he said, that's fine. I don't like bowling anyways. And he walked out of there. So, listen, it's a cool event. Stanley Cup, best trophy in all sports. It's a 1, Coos.
Okay. The Bears quarterback situation.
That's it.
That's it?
That is it. No, I mean, I wrote this yesterday because it was more on topic with Foles' injury. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, it's good. It was very good. Anyway, I liked how you presented that, too. That was a good delivery by you.
Yep.
It really was.
Impeccable timing.
I would say their misery meter is 9.5.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, they can't get I always liken it to this. If you can't throw for 150 yards in a game and you play offense in a box that's about 10 yards big, that is awful. That is disgusting. That's not the way the game should be played really for the last 3 decades, but especially this decade. I watched the Jaguars do it. It was gross, and right now Chicago is doing that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as someone who played Nick Foles in the over in their prize picks like an absolute dunce, there's no way this is anything but a 10. I mean, you look at what Chicago gave up to get Mitch Trubisky in the first place. They bench Mitch Trubisky, who was undefeated at the time, I believe. They bring in Nick Foles, and the rest is history. There is no silver lining going forward for this offense, especially the quarterback position. To me, it's a 10.
All right, the next one, having to drink Pepsi's new flavor, apple pie soda.
I please don't record this show right now, because if we ever get a Pepsi endorsement and I've got to drink it.
Should we cancel the stream right now?
Well, that's fine. I'll do it. I can be bought.
Oh, yeah.
I just had a Diet Pepsi today because that was the option. But quite frankly, if I could avoid Pepsi, I'd avoid it. And if you want to put apple pie in it, I'm definitely avoiding it. The misery meter on that is 11.
Oh, you guys are, wow, really? 11?
Yes.
It's a little aggressive. Listen, I don't drink soda, so I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm going to say it's a 3 because I've never had anything apple pie that wasn't good. So why wouldn't the soda be good?
No, gosh, it can't be good.
What do you mean it can't be good?
It should be very sweet.
Well, Brett, you think they're just going to release a soda that tastes horrible, no one's going to like it? Like, Pepsi knows what they're doing, all right? It's the choice of a new generation.
Okay. The next one.
That was their slogan like 10 years ago.
Yeah, no,
20 years ago. Okay.
The next one, having a player hate your team so much that they turn down over $50 million a year just to get out.
Sad to be a Houston Rocket fan. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Brent.
So I'm playing the Houston role?
Yeah. As a fan or even, I guess, someone in that office.
Or just as you.
Here's the thing. I would say I'm at a 7 with that. And because to me, that's just as much on him as it is on us. If you're going to turn down that kind of money and you don't want to be here, I don't want you here.
I mean, spoken like someone like in a relationship where it's like, it's not you, it's me. Like, listen, if I'm a Houston fan, this is a 10, by the way, straight 10. 10s all around. Because, listen, after all Houston did for James Harden, like I said, and maybe loyalty's out of the professional sports business, and maybe you're right, Brent, but at the end of the day, you changed your entire way of playing the game of basketball to suit James Harden. You offered him $50 million a year in hopes that he would stay, and he turned that down. So there's nothing that can buy this man. Like, that shows you how bad it is right now. That he doesn't even want to take a pay bump to stay there. He would rather take a pay decrease and go someplace else. And if I'm a Rockets fan, or if I'm part of that, front office, I'm a very, very sad panda right now. So it's a 10.
He also would have set a record. First NBA player to make over $50 million in 1 year.
Yeah, and once again, it's not about the money, it's what the money says.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Gosh, that's amazing paying a one player $50 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems, but you can't in that league. You don't have 50 players.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're going to pay somewhere along the way Patrick Mahomes something close to it.
Yep.
At some point. So, hey, is the misery meter over?
There's one last one that we have to get to.
Oh, what you got?
Point that picture up there. Let's go.
Yep, I'm going to put the picture on the stream in just a second. The question is getting absolutely roasted.
Yes.
On the internet for getting a haircut.
And listen,
Herbert.
And it's not even, just this haircut. Where does this fall on the meter? Kuz, is the picture up yet?
It yeah.
So I can see this cultural abomination that we're about to witness.
Have you seen it yet?
I have seen it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. And the funniest thing, made by Tim on Twitter.
Sure.
He put Herbert in the cover of Stand By Me.
Like photoshopped him in, with other kids, and okay, I got you.
Go back. You can I said this when Tim did. I was like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And then I also said, how does here's where our minds work differently. My mind would never go there.
Sure.
But it's a perfect thing,
Oh, it's fantastic. Chef's kiss. Oh, you're pointing at I can see it. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, he fits right into that thing. Yeah. So here's my. I mean, go ahead, Brent. I'll let you go first because I got strong opinions about this.
Well, listen. I mean, we all try different styles.
It's just like Brent. He's got Brent Marno's hairstyle.
No, he does not.
It's exactly the same. Virtually identical.
I would say just a 6.
Just a 6? Are you kidding me? Listen, this is a 10 and then some. This isn't. I mean, Kuz, what's the highest you can go? 10?
10, I
11.
think.
Got to go 11. Anthony Lynn. I mean, if this wasn't, grounds to dismiss already, like, listen, first he had the whole thing with whatchamacallit with the whole rib injury, and they punctured his lung. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank. The quarterback, Brent, the guy you can't stand, who's an average quarterback.
Tyrod Taylor.
Thank you very much. Tyrod Taylor gets his lung punctured on Anthony Lynn's watch. And then for whatever reason, and I get it's COVID times, but you still can't bring in a barber to, like, properly give this guy a haircut. It looks like he went to, like, Fantastic Sam's and wouldn't sit still in the chair. Like, Brent, this is a grown man we're talking about here. Look at him. This is supposed to be the franchise leader of the team. Like, if I'm in the huddle with him and I know what he looks like without a helmet on, I'm asking off the Chargers. So, Anthony Lynn, we'll see you later because, listen, you're on your last leg here. You're on the hot seat. After this haircut, you're gone. Justin Herbert, little self-awareness. I'm not sure what your awareness is on Madden right now, but it just dropped 30 points because you look absolutely ridiculous. Like, where did he get that done? And then guess what? Like, what kind of barber did that to him and thought, oh, yeah, let's send him out in public looking like this? Because you know how that went down, right? Like, Justin Herbert went to a barbershop. It wasn't a black barbershop, I tell you that right now, because they wouldn't let him get away with that. So he went to a barbershop, and someone in there's like, oh, snap, it's Justin Herbert, what's up, man? And they're taking pictures or anything like that. And I guarantee when the haircut was done, the barber took a selfie with them, and he's like, had to take care of the king emoji, crown emoji, crown emoji, crown emoji. And then in that whole thing, nobody said one time, hey, what did you do to Justin Herbert's hair? There are so many people that are responsible for this diabolical cultural disaster. I can't believe, look at him still, I can't even look at the picture. It's so insane, man.
It's crazy. This is my question in the history of our show.
What's up?
What's worse on Anthony Lynn's watch, Herbert's haircut or Tyrod Taylor's punctured lung?
I mean, it's a horse apiece, Brent. And at the end of the day, that guy still and listen, and I'm the last to speak against Anthony Lynn. Remember when Hard Knocks came out and I spoke Anthony Lynn's praises saying, yeah, you know what, Sean McVay, I mean, he's kind of a loud dude. I get it, but I like Anthony Lynn, man. He's a player's coach. He talks to his guys the right way. I like Anthony Lynn. And now here I am, 11/18/2020 at 5:50, looking like an absolute fool because you let Tyrod Taylor's lung get punctured, and now Justin Herbert looks like a kid from Stand By Me. It's unbelievable.
Oh, man, what a way to end the show. We can't end until we do this. Who is going to be the number one pick in tonight's NBA draft? Is it Anthony Edwards? What's your guesses, guys?
What do you got?
Yeah, honestly, it's between
Ball?
Edwards. It's between Edwards or Ball. And I kind of, earlier before you were on the show, Brendan, was saying it really just depends on the way the Timberwolves want to go. If they want their point guard to be a scoring point guard, which would then make D'Angelo Russell a little pointless on the team, then you go with Edwards. If you go Ball, then you kind of have a little bit more to play with where you can facilitate an offense through Cat and see where it goes.
Who's the better player? How about if we just did it that way?
I guess the problem
this is real hard-hitting NBA draft coverage here.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean,
man, I hope you put this on Twitter for everybody here.
Who's going to be better? I mean, I don't care. Well, fit matters. I get it. But
I think there's more hype for Ball right now, but I think right off the rip, there's going to be more praise for Edwards because he's able to score. So I think, at least in terms of people next year talking about which player will be better, it might be Edwards on the stat sheet.
Has a dad ever made people in general dislike their kids more than Ball?
I mean,
like, I have no idea about this edition of Ball. Like, he's been very quiet, right? They've kind of been under the radar, so it's very unfair. But I'm just telling you that a lot of people are like, oh, I want that guy on my team because They know the dad.
Well, listen, I mean, I had to deal with a lot of dads when I was playing Pee Wee hockey up there in central Wisconsin, and obviously when hockey games, you can drink beer. So there's a lot of dads out there that aren't on, anybody's Christmas list, let's just say. But, I mean, in terms of consistency of annoyingness and just, being everywhere, no one takes the cake like Ball does. So I think Ball is, like, in a league of his own.
Yeah. I've got one final thing. We'll see what happens with the NBA draft. Any other storylines you're keeping an eye on, Kuz?
Yeah, the only other one is if the Warriors do trade that second pick because they're kind of in a spot where they may not need, if it's Ball, Wiseman, whoever. So they may trade. I know the Knicks are trying to leverage some things to make it happen. I know they were talking about the Bulls potentially moving up, and I think the Hornets were interested too.
And go ahead and break your own team's news real quick, Kuz. We had some 76ers
Al
news.
Horford.
Yeah, they traded like everything to get rid of Al Horford. I was kind of surprised at how much they had to trade to get his salary off the books. I get it. Is Oklahoma City Thunder just going to be the dumping ground for players that nobody
Just
wants?
out of misfit toys. Listen, man, I hope Al Horford's going to drive from Philly to Oklahoma City because there's no way he can stand a plane ride with those old hips and those old knees with all that inflammation going around. That guy had a horrible season last year. They should have never paid him that much money.
Kuz, I liked your tweet, by the way, about the Knicks. You're right. I don't think they're like Jets fans. Right? They won't be happy now. Jets fans might not boo Trevor Lawrence next year.
The Knicks fans booed Porzingis, and he ended up being good. I think they're just programmed to hate on the picks because they haven't had a good one in a very long time.
Hey, I was watching Peyton Manning's NFL 100. You know how he did that last year? And he was doing something with, I think, Rich Karlis, and it was barefoot kicking. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. Nobody does that anymore.
That's a good point.
Remember, like, Tony Franklin used to do it? I think Mike Lansford did it as well. So I asked Scobie. I was like, I'm going to ask Scobie, like, why doesn't anybody do it? And I figured he'd come back with something good. He just said, there's a reason shoes were invented.
I like that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So it is crazy that people used to kick like that, but nobody really does it anymore. I once did a story on a barefoot high school kicker.
It was because the feel, right? Wasn't that the whole thing?
I guess. I don't really even know why they
break. Yeah.
He did it in Denver in the snow. So did Tony Franklin in New England. It was crazy.
It's so insane.
Hey, go check out our Athlete of the Week on ESPN690.com. Vote, vote, vote. You have until Friday. Live, local, loud coming up next, and we'll see you on TV tonight on Fox 30 and CBS 47. Have a good night, everybody.
Why call a professional if you're only going to get a half solution? That's my philosophy. You called me to truly fix your problems.